So, hi guys, hey, there we are again. How are you? How is everybody? So, let check me this out. Okay, there you go. A little bit down. So, who is everybody here? We're starting a bit earlier today because this stream may take a bit longer time than usual. Yeah. Yes, yes. Okay. So, um, okay. What we're gonna talk about today is, well, Bruce Lee's evolution from Wing Chun to eventually Jeet Kune, and we're gonna look at some interview and also some, yeah, well, writings that Bruce students did about the subject, so everybody can see that for themselves. Well, because there's a lot of misconception about this subject. Well, what is Jeet Kune and what did actually Bruce teach and what did he actually believe in? And if you follow this martial art, which direction you should go. I mean, it's if you don't agree with Bruce, you don't have to do Jeet Kune. As simple as that. I mean, okay, so we're gonna start with the first writing that I have here from book Bruce the Incomparable Fighter. So let me just check on this book the real name. The right name of that book. This is it. This is it. So, okay. Okay, let's go here. So you can see the book, right? This book is the Incomparable Fighter. This is written by M. Uehara. It's the same guy who did the most of this. Okay. So the pictures in this book are from Bruce, but the most of the text that's behind it is from the same guy who did this that book here. Okay, and in that book you can find when Bruce went back to Hong Kong. It was 1968. He went. I think this was the first time he went back to Hong Kong. And that was already after he did the Green Hornet, right? So he was already pretty well known there. And when he went back to Hong Kong, he visited Yip Man, right? His old teacher. And this is what happened. So you can see here at first he's talking about Kung Fu, okay? So the morning papers had a complete account of Bruce Lee exhibition, including his photo on the front page. This is because he was already known from the Green Hornet in Hong Kong, and so when he went there, I don't know why he went there. Did he just go to visit his parents, or he was invited? I don't really know. So the headline expounded that Bruce had found a secret power of ancient Kung Fu. According to the article, in ancient China, the Kung Fu fighters were extraordinarily powerful and skillful, but this ability was lost when the art was carried forward from one generation to another. Okay, so that's what media said, and then Bruce demonstrated his sidekick or whatever. Okay, and then Bruce said to Mito Uehara, okay, this is what Bruce is talking to him basically. Okay, so boy, they sure can throw the bull. Bruce said, but you and I know better. Jeet Kune's got so little of Kung Fu in it that I can't and don't even call it a Chinese art. Okay, so there is another quote of Bruce where he said that Jeet Kune is a Chinese art, but you know, you have to also think about what is the timeline. Bruce saying different things. Okay, so this was late 60s. And besides, how can one compare Jeet Kune with Kung Fu? No comparison at all. It's not even close. Remember, this is Bruce Lee. Guys in Kung Fu can't hit or kick hard at all. Well, maybe that's... Well, maybe... Okay, right? This is what he said. Well, maybe that bullshit is good for the people there. He shrugged. Most of them just live day-to-day life with nothing much to look forward. Maybe they can relate to something like that and be proud of it. So besides, it doesn't hurt anyone. It's harmless. And he's talking about Kung Fu here. But you and I know I got my where I got my power from. Yeah, from here. And he's pointing to his head. So his mind is his power. Okay, which many people lack nowadays. Oh, look at this. my daughter was just reading in this or watching pictures. I have the book here as well. So here. In this book is also, there's a passage, I just have to find it, where Bruce, when he went to Hong Kong to look for filming locations. And this may be the reason why he was there. So when he went to Hong Kong to look for filming locations, he went also to Thailand for the same reason, for a project, which later was cancelled. And there he was watching Muay Thai guys. And what he said about Muay Thai guys, I'm like 80% sure it's in the same book. What he said about Muay Thai guys is that it's too predictable. There's no broken rhythm. It's all like rhythmical martial arts. So that was his opinion about Muay Thai. Okay, no broken rhythm, no good footwork and whatever. So I have to look for it exactly what he said there. So okay, let's continue here. So besides, it doesn't hurt anyone, it's harmless, but you and I know where I got my power from the head. Okay, so within 2 weeks, Bruce had the whole country buzzing about his fighting skills. I've gone on television several more times, but had trouble finding assistants who were martial artists. Those two karate guys who won't come with me after the first time, I guess they didn't want to look like asses again. I guess he did his usual demonstrations, punching them, and they had to try to block and stuff like that. So right, and because of his speed, you know, when they fail. Hi, John Paul. You know, they look pretty bad. It's just like this other guy who then claimed he did actually block his punch, but on the video you can clearly see he didn't. You know, in martial arts, in martial arts, you can find the people with biggest egos. John Paul, Jesse Glover explains in his first and second books why Bruce moved away from Wing Chun. Is the one book maybe a comparison between Wing Chun and Jeet Kune, because I have one. I don't have it as a paper copy. I have it as a digital copy. I never read it because one guy sent me that and I just saved it, but I just never read it. So I also want to read that one. Just a second. Close the door. So within 2 weeks. Okay, so even with all that publicity, certain traits remained the same with Bruce. So for instance, when he felt gratitude towards someone, he would never let the person forget it. That was his relationship with Yip Man. And so he visited Yip Man. Okay, so for first, so hi Bruce Lee, hi Rai Gupta, hi J Mope, hi John Paul again, and hi what is it? Ringtones movement. Between Wing Chun and Jeet Kune tells it all. Okay, okay. So I'm gonna read that book. Maybe we can also do some screenshots and post it in the community tab so people really see what's up. J Mob, Adam spoke about it as well a few times. You mean Adam Chan? I don't watch his videos because I'm not interested in Wing Chun, so I did see few. Okay, so let's continue. Kung Fu. So even though I realized that my style is so much different from Wing Chun, so he's talking about Jeet Kune Do 1968. And remember, the pictures from this book are mostly 1967, so this is basically 1 or 2 years later, or even 1968. So this is basically the same year or 1 year earlier when he was talking this and when these pictures were made. And you can see most of these pictures, you know, they're just nothing to do with Wing Chun, okay? Maybe a single, like here, a single Pak Sao and a back fist, but from, you know, totally different structure and everything. And you have very little Wing Chun here. And according to Ted Wong was in Glasgow at the seminar 2000. It's 12 years now ago. I think John was there as well, John Paul, and he said he was teaching and he demonstrated some footwork, and he said that the reason why Bruce went away from trapping, not went away from Wing Chun, but went away from trapping at the end, was the footwork. Because instead of, you know, when you get locked, anyway, you punch fast, you know, you retract your punch, you can punch again, you don't need to trap. You don't let your hand like in the front to trap, and the guy who blocks has to do the same in order this stuff to work. So he went away from this because he was using the footwork, and he was using to reposition and to attack different angles, so you don't need trapping there. Okay, it's far more difficult for the opponent to reach you when you move and attack at the same time. So, okay. Again, even though I realize that my style is so much different from Wing Chun, okay, style of Kung Fu Bruce originally had studied, to me he was the only Sifu I ever had. I'm grateful because he was the one that got me started in martial arts. So Yip Man was the one, he felt that Yip Man was the one who started him into martial arts. Okay, so when you start with Wing Chun and then you change your martial art for your lifetime, it doesn't mean that you have to learn his beginnings in order to understand his ending. So Bruce convinced the old Sifu that the best way to illustrate his art was to spar with his students. When the old man consented, Bruce eagerly moved to the center of the room as the old man waved his hand, ordering his pupils to form a single line. Then he instructed the lead student to step out to face Bruce. So lead student, not just anyone. And I know if these guys don't know Wing Chun, then I don't know who does. So I guess he got so Bruce said, this guy was so baffled by my moves, Bruce said. I kept moving in and out, letting go kicks and punches, never gave him a chance to recover his balance. I guess he got so frustrated because every blow I let go would have hit him if I didn't control it. Jeet Kune Do is too fast for Wing Chun. Again. Bruce Lee's words. Not Tommy's words, not my words, okay? I'm just a journalist here. Okay? The next guy got just as frustrated, Bruce continued, because I kept throwing fakes and he kept biting. Once he got suckered and almost fell on his face, I didn't even touch him. So while Bruce was slaughtering his students, or Yip Man's students, the old man kept taking notes. You know, the old man was really smart, Bruce said. He knew I had superior technique and wanted to know everything about them. He even kept me after the season or after the session so he could ask more questions. He was really impressed. I wanted to incorporate my movements and techniques to Wing Chun, so basically what the guys do today, huh? Bruce was disappointed because the senior students didn't want any part of him. Those mother Fs, he probably said mother Fs, okay? They chicken out, Bruce complained. I sure would like to have sparred them. These were the same guys who gave me a bad time when I first studied Wing Chun. I was skinny kid of 15 and these guys even then were already assistant instructors of Yip Man. Well, I guess they saw enough and didn't want to make an ass of themselves. So, this is the story Bruce actually told when he went back to Hong Kong. And let's see the footwork and everything. And there were some Wing Chun guys. They trained Wing Chun already for 20 years or 25 years. So I have some experience with Wing Chun guys. Trust me. Also after that, many of my students, I had more than one student in my school that actually came from Wing Chun and was trained by me. And from my experience, the people that have most difficulty to learn Jeet Kune Do are actually Wing Chun people, because the whole structure, when you come from square structure, you have to change to fencing structure and punch and kick from there. You have to relearn everything. J. Mope Thomas, could be a good topic to talk about close range in Jeet Kune Do. Mostly need groin kick, straight lead, back fist, hook, side kick. So I have done a lot of videos on this subject. So close range is hooks, moving to the side, moving away from the. You don't stay in the front of the opponent. You use your hooks, and you can also sweep a guy if you need. You can also side kick the ankle and do this kind of techniques. Hooks as finger jabs as well. So this is the close range in Jeet Kune Do. Okay, so hooks are devastating punches. You land once here, that's it. If you know how to hook punch. Joe Mob, in the group I train under Tommy, we use immobilization as well in close range. It can be handy to make your opponent block and attack. If you see when you use immobilization in close range, right? You immobilize yourself as well. So what you want to do later on, you want to move and punch at the same time. You move on the side of your opponent. So immobilization. Okay, you always, when you trap the opponent, you trap yourself as well. Okay, and if he's not a total idiot, he can still continue punching you. I know. What group did you train under, Joe Mob? Is it the earlier stuff? So when Tommy, like, what is this name of the guy? Pete Jenkins? Okay, because there was a when Pete Jenkins used to be instructor under Tommy, they were doing still a lot of non-classical kung fu and stuff, which Tommy moved away from as well. So we're gonna watch this because this is a important interview, and I'm gonna set it up to like 1.5 speed. Let's see if it's too fast. Maybe. If it's too fast, I'm gonna slow it down. So I don't know if some of guys saw that interview. This is Howard Williams. So Howard Williams, he trained in Oakland. He started to train in Bruce Lee school with 15, and at one point he came out. He wanted to clarify things about Jeet Kune Do, which you're gonna hear in this interview, and he was also a friend and teacher from Tommy. They were pretty close, and they were phone calling all the time. Yeah, Tommy, I remember when Tommy told me that Howard Williams used to call him middle in the night because you know in the US it's a daytime, and in Scotland, in Europe, it's nighttime. And he just called Tommy, and Tommy said, "Hey Howard, you know, I'm here's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm sleeping right now." So yeah, so Joe Mob, turn the center and hit at the same time. That's I'm alterning the center. You can turn the center. Okay, you can turn him, or you can move to the side. There are two concepts which you can use. But when you turn him and hit him at the same time, so in order to put your whole power in your punch, you have to turn your body. You have to turn this side. When you're punching with the right, you have to turn the right side into the punch. But if you trap, okay, let's say you pak sao and you hit at the same time, you can't do that because you want to have power there, but you also want to have power there, so you lose a lot of punching power. Instead of using hook, where you turn, where the whole body mechanics is about to increase the power of the punch, okay? So that's a real knockout punch. You can see Mike Tyson, how he's moving to the side and punching. Okay, so let's try this. So this is...
Oh, tell me, what is the meaning of JKD?
So this is, I guess, early 90s. Okay.
Can you explain to us what it really means?
Yes, JKD means the way of the intercepting fist.
Is that Bruce Lee's?
But this is Bruce Lee. Who didn't know?
Does it relate to Wing Chun, this JKD?
Only in the fact that it has its roots from Wing Chun.
Can you repeat that again?
Only in the way that it has its beginnings in Wing Chun again.
So again, he asked him if Jeet Kune Do relates to Wing Chun, and he said only in the way that it has its begins in the Wing Chun, and it has its begins in the Wing Chun because that was the only art that Bruce trained, right? The Wing Chun is not the reason, or the Wing Chun is not the reason because, or a fundamental stone of Wing Chun, because like you need Wing Chun in order to you need to know Wing Chun in order to be able to train Jeet Kune Do. It's the opposite. Bruce Lee moved away from Wing Chun, and that was needed in order for him to be able to develop Jeet Kune Do, okay?
Only in the fact that it has its beginnings in Wing Chun.
Is this a collection of different martial arts skills that Bruce developed?
Another thing is, when you go here, only in the fact that it has his beginnings of the Wing Chun. So I want to quote an other thing from Bruce. So this is the one, and this one here. Okay, so Wing Chun relates to Jeet Kune Do like a core to its apple. This is what Bruce Lee said to Ted Wong. Okay, this is what Bruce Lee said to Ted Wong. So it's basically, you know, Howard Williams and Ted Wong, they agreed, obviously. So Wing Chun relates to Jeet Kune Do like a core to its apple. At the beginning, it was the core Wing Chun, like Howard Williams said, only that it was the beginning of Jeet Kune Do. Wing Chun relates to Jeet Kune Do only that way. At the end, so then the apple grew around the core, right? So he did Wing Chun, then he moved away from Wing Chun, starting developing Jeet Kune Do, and Jeet Kune Do grew. And at the end, you take the core out, you take Wing Chun out, you throw it away, and what's left is Jeet Kune Do. Okay, that's how Bruce Lee explained to Ted Wong the relation between those two arts. So
you could say that it's a combination of anything, all things that would work to you could put together to come up with something that is functional and practical that anyone can learn and can use.
I remember Bruce used the same term in Longstreet, the TV series.
It would work to
Develop.
you could say that beginnings in Wing Chun.
So, the next question.
Is this a collection of different martial arts skills that Bruce developed?
So, is this a collection of different martial arts and skills that Bruce developed? So, listen to his answer.
You could say that it's a combination of anything, all things that would work to you could put together to come up with something that is functional and practical that anyone can learn and can use.
I remember Bruce used the same term in Longstreet, the TV series. The intercepting fist, which he done, it was written by Sullivan.
So what he said that you could say that it's a combination from different things that you research and you learn that work, right? But he didn't say, yeah, it's a combination of different martial arts. You train this martial art, you train that martial art, you go from Wing Chun to boxing to Taekwondo to grappling. Okay, so but let's continue. Hi Robert, in the early 89s, so original Seattle Jun Fan Kung Fu School had a senior instructor named Roy Hollingsworth, an English boxer. When I was there, he quit out of frustration and started a boxing gym because trapping didn't work. He was in the early 80s. Okay, so so to clarify this, he was a boxer before he came to Seattle, and then he started like Jun Fan Kung Fu in Seattle, and then he moved away from it again. Thomas, do you still go to Glasgow for updates, late stuff? I usually invite Tommy here to Germany. I don't fly to Glasgow anymore because it's too expensive. So usually I see Tommy once, twice a year. But you have to understand, guys, there's no new stuff, okay? There's no new techniques or whatever. So there are only maybe new exercises. But it depends who is there at the seminar. If there are beginners, a lot of exercises he does with his students are, so in order to be able to do them, you have to know how to hold pads and everything. So for most people, this has no benefit. If you don't know how to hold pads, then you can't learn these exercises, because these exercises are mostly the coaching side. So the guy who coaches how he holds pads, what he wants to do from his students. But the student, he does all the time the same. He punches, he kicks. The difference is what reaction you want to have from your students, and the drill is built around this. Okay. So he doesn't change Jeet Kune Do. He only comes up with new coaching ideas, okay? But the techniques don't change, okay? So which some people think that Tommy changes Jeet Kune Do, which he doesn't really. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. My daughter is leaving me. So let's continue.
What did he mean by the intercepting fist? Because he had a lot of philosophy, and it was his own philosophy he projected on the screen.
Well, to intercept one's intentional, emotional intent, meaning to hit him on his first move, he was good at that, and that was the main thing that he wanted us to learn to do. Intercept, destroy, then you do whatever comes natural from that part. A lot of it was creativity also, but within the frameworks of what we were taught.
Yeah.
So the way of intercepting, yeah, I mean, I have told this in my videos numerous of times, and also on the stream. So you hit the opponent on the first move, and this is where Tommy got his exercises from, or attacking from neutral stance or from natural stance, not from the on guard. Okay, so this is Howard Williams taught him that. So where you hit the opponent, okay, in order to stop his attack, but also make him unable to fight, to continue the fight. Okay, so let me go here upwards, and that's crucial so to hit vulnerable targets, if you side kick the knee, if you kick the groin, if you go with the eye jab, or even with the lead punch to the chin or to the throat, so the chances when you hit opponent these targets, they are greater that you're gonna really stop him. Not just stop him from this first attack, but also stop him to continue attacking. Okay, so you don't want to. But if you have to, like he said, whatever is needed, you can do after that. Robert, the big difference. J Mob said the big difference was that when you contact with the opponent arm, you get blocked. You either just attack on the other line, or detach or disconnect by going around the obstacle. Yes, this is called disengaging. Robert said 80s. Okay. So yes, Robert says also yes, he was a boxer, then Jun Fan, then moved away from that. Yeah, it's. I mean, when you box and then you want to do like Wing Chun and Jun Fan, then you just see the limitations of this art. So you know, you go here and then you have to go here and you want to go here again, and when you box, so you wait, when I'm here, I continue to attack. I don't pause for trapping or pause my attack to trap. I attack on other different line, different angle. It's no, I mean, it's science, but it's no rocket science, okay?
Trouble in the beginning with his Wing Chun and the power. He thought he was lacking in power.
Well,
when did he begin to change?
Well, he realized that what he had before in Wing Chun had his limitations, and power was one of them. He then began to explore and do things that would give him power, but basically he modified the art so that it would be more adaptable to himself as a martial artist. And then that's where he used Wing Chun, then became a springboard, so to speak, to other things, better things.
So because, you know, Bruce, he already started to modify Wing Chun even before he was thinking about making a new martial art, like, if this makes any sense, okay? So, like I said in a video where he, like with doing Chisao, the difference between non-classical Kung Fu Chisao and Wing Chun Chisao is that non-classical Kung Fu Chisao or Bruce's Chisao, Jesse's and Bruce's Chisao is the same, has a lot of, you know, forward pressure, okay, and then you have to switch the stance, so you don't stand like this when you do Chisao, don't stand like this when you do Chisao, but you stand like this, so you have stabilization to forward and backwards, okay. But later on, you know, this was just one of modifications within his Wing Chun before Jeet Kune.
Number of encounters with different fighters, and he thought then he would change. Now, the intercepting fist, by what it says, does it really mean to truly intercept an opponent's move?
Yes, it does. It really means that when a man moves towards you, he makes a certain gesture towards you, whether he blinks his eye, wiggles his nose, or makes a move. Whatever he does, you intercept his emotional intent.
This is so funny because we do all these exercises. I should actually do these exercises more often with my students, where you can for example, you can darken the lights in the school, and so you barely see your opponent, okay. It's so dark that you just see the outline of your training partner, okay? And then you stand in neutral position or in on guard, whatever. And when you see that this outline starts to move, you intercept him, okay? So you have to have certain skills, so you don't just punch the guy in the wall, okay? So you have to know where he really stands, okay? And so you can make it like darker, and the better the opponent, the student gets, you reduce the light. And Tommy, I know when Tommy said me how he used to train, he turned the light in the room completely off, and turned the light on in the neighbor room, just a small light, and he just opened the door between the rooms just slightly, so you just little light comes in. And then he trained, you know, where you barely can see the opponent or your training partner, but you still react to the slightest movement. And the idea about this is to train your visual like capabilities, so that you can recognize the slightest movement, you know, because you can intercept the person when the person is here, or when the person's hand is already here by punching, or already here, then the reaction is too late. But you can also start to launch your attack when the person is starting shift the weight like just this much, boom, and you intercept him. Okay, so that early. Okay,
You already know that he wants to fight, so you don't have to wait for anything else.
this is another question. So because people say, sorry, I interrupt, but you know, we are talking about it. Most people say when I post these videos where I stand in front of my training partner or in front of Fabian, and he moves toward me and I just intercept him, and I punch him that early that he actually didn't even start to develop his attacking technique. And the people said, yeah, what if the guy didn't want to attack you? So you have to remember, you already know that the guy wants to fight. This is a already developed situation, okay? So, and what you do is you hold the distance to this guy. And when this guy is stepped towards you, what is the reason in this situation that this guy want to step towards you? He doesn't want to hug you or anything, so he wants to attack you probably. And then you counter into this movement. What you can do is when he steps towards you, you back off, okay? And when he then continues to come towards you, you attack then. So you basically give him one chance, and if he still continues to shorten distance towards you, then you attack.
If he makes a move, you can do it. Intercept, destroy. Or you can destroy him before he makes his move.
Is it true Bruce Lee developed skills without telegraphing his movement?
That was one of his fortes, his specialties.
Because obviously that gives you the jump on the other guy.
Exactly. It's sort of like you can almost...
So, being able to punch and to kick without telegraphing, but still having power. You have to exactly to know how the mechanics are of this kind of technique, and how those body mechanics grip into each other. So for the straight lead, for example, you start with the hand, then you push with your rear leg, and the hip comes to the at short before the impact comes, and the front leg lands after the fist landed into the target. Okay, so you have power, but you still don't telegraph. Okay, because telegraphing would basically mean like exaggerating your punch so you can build up power. If you don't do that, you have shorter acceleration way or distance to your opponent, because you know, like, hand doesn't come from here, but it comes from here. So you have very little time to develop power, and that's why body mechanics are important. So you know how to train them, and also you can work on developing strengthening muscles of this each that are contributing to this technique. Okay, so you make your technique more powerful.
Read the intent and motive of the other fighter, but being that we are not able to read minds, he had flawless non-telegraphic moves, which allowed him to just intercept your emotional intent to hit.
Does that come with practicing in front of the mirror for hours and then looking at your body telegraphing before movement?
Form is very important, not form
You see, he said form is very important. The form is the body mechanics.
as in classical form, as in traditional kung fu, but form as in proper application in the art. Being able to intercept and being able to research body movement, or the body in motion. And when you do that, then you're able to determine the things that you need to know that give off signals.
So, guys, and now tell me, is this what he is explaining? What he's explaining is pure Jeet Kune Do, but is this mixing techniques? You take a technique from one art and then take your technique from another art. You take a kick from this art, take a punch from that art, and then you make a Jeet Kune out of it. You can do that, but you still don't know how not to telegraph. What body mechanics you have to use in order to be able to do this. You don't find this in any martial art. Okay, so you need to know what technique did Bruce actually develop in order to make this work. And that's why fencing is very important in Jeet Kune, because a lot of principles that actually make Jeet Kune work are actually coming from fencers, because fencing has a lot of curriculum when it comes to not telegraphing the attacks, using same principles. But you have to switch this to punching and kicking, because attacking with a foil is different than attacking with a punch. So you have to bring this from fencing to non-weapon combat over, and you have to modify it in order to make it work. Joe Mob, what is unfortunate that we didn't met Thomas on the seminars? I bet you didn't attend, but heard a lot of good things about you. Thank you. Thank you. Glad to see you made this channel. Maybe one day we train together. Maybe, who knows? I mean, I'm not getting younger, guys. I'm 43 years old, and I have a lot of issues with my health, especially when it comes to joints and stuff. So, you know, I'm not getting younger, you know. I mean, when I was 20, it was different than now. Pear, hi Pear. Gumfu, the guy is Pear, so you guys know. Great find about this conversation between Bruce and the publisher of Black Belt, Mitoshi Ohara. Yes, I mean that's this book. Okay, so Mito Ohara, he did that, and he also did fighting method books. And there's another book, Legendary Bruce Lee from Black Belt magazine. And I read this book like 1996 or 7 or something, when I wasn't even 20 years old. I was 17 or 18, something about that. And that's the reason I never looked into Wing Chun, like all these concepts guys. They think that Wing Chun is core of Jeet Kune, because I read what Bruce said about that, and I was laughing even back then when the Wing Chun guys, I knew a few Wing Chun guys, they trained at the same place I trained. And they said, well, Jeet Kune is basically Wing Chun. I said, no, it's not, guys. It's not true. Because I read this, I knew that. And when I met Tommy, and I heard about Tommy, and the Tommy was saying the same stuff, I knew, okay, the Tommy not knows what's the real deal, you know? And the opposite of that is not only just doing Wing Chun, but also a bunch of stuff, other martial arts. So, Ringoto's movements, they like to use Bruce old Wing Chun for hand immobilization attack. Yeah, but even you can, I mean, if somebody tries to immobilize my hand, you know, you use the other one. It just, I mean, you punch like this. Okay, here you punch and you retract your hand. How he's going to immobilize that? For him to be able to do this for me, I would have to punch like this, and then he can push my hand away, because for whatever reason I pause there. But if you punch in combinations, you retract your punches. There's no way this can be done. The only way you can make this work if the guy is like not attacking. So you go into him first, and you crushes his hand, and you punch him. Okay, but you can do this also just with punching and kicking, which we do. Okay, you don't need the other hand. And so basically the only way to make this work is when the other guy is too passive. But when he is too passive, you can do whatever you want with him. Okay, even a non-martial artist can punch the guy.
Bam, it's over.
What do you think of JKD that is taught today around the world?
Oh,
Is this the same JKD that Bruce Lee taught?
No. By far, it doesn't resemble anything similar to what Bruce was.
So remember, when he did this interview, there was only one Jeet Kune in the world, and that was the concepts line. The original Jeet Kune that Ted Wong did, and we came with Tommy, we came far after this interview, okay? So he's basically talking about Danino Santo curriculum. So again.
No.
Is this the same JKD that Bruce Lee taught?
No. By far, it doesn't resemble anything similar to what
Anything similar. It doesn't resemble anything similar. So guys, I'm not telling this. It's him telling this.
Bruce was trying to get his students in the first generation to learn.
What is the difference?
The biggest difference is that there's a lot of gross telegraphic moves. There's a lot of unnecessary trapping movements, the wrong application of the trapping movements, and the footwork is bad, and the actual timing and the fighting, there's no sparring. There's a whole lot of things that have been watered down. It's like having a fine wine that has been watered down.
About sparring. Okay, so just to clarify this again. So I did a post today in the community tab, because now and then there come guys and they argue we don't spar. Because Tommy said once we don't spar, but it's not the end. We don't spar. We don't spar, we fight. So the difference between sparring and fighting is a mental attitude. Okay, so when you say spar, you automatically think about all these sport martial arts and how they spar. Okay, but when we spar, we don't spar, we fight. So we always spar as a mean and as a goal to end the opponent with one blow. Okay, and from there you can continue if you have, and you don't, and if you don't have to continue, don't continue. So you always attack the way you would fight, and not doing some stupid things. Okay, that's the difference. But that's not sparring, because Bruce did the same. Okay, so the Bruce, when you even when you watch the demonstration he did in where was it, in LA, so you can see that he was countering all the time. So it was it's a series of counters. So that's what you basically concentrate on. And Chuck Norris said the same. He said the same thing when he was sparring with Bruce. There was always the one was attacking all the time, and the other one was defending. Okay, and this is the sparring that Bruce did, which is basically all defending all the time. So the moment the opponent attacks, you go in, or you evade and you go back in. And if sometimes he's too close, you attack first. Okay, that's basically, you know. Joe Mob, I had broken rib and cracked my feet before. So yes, but that's the dangerous thing about fighting or sparring in Jeet Kune, because these techniques are so devastating. You use side kicks to knees. You can even use a side kick to the upper body, or even a lead punch. If you lean strong into it and the other guy is coming in, you can injure his neck and everything. So I only let my students fight if they are develop a certain level of technique and be able to control them. And most instructors I see nowadays in Jeet Kune, in my school, I wouldn't let them do fighting drills, because they have zero knowledge or control, let's say like this. So, man.
To the actual timing and the
so let's hear this again.
That give off signals, and once the signal is given, bam, it's over.
What do you think of JKD that is taught today around the world? Is this the same JKD that Bruce Lee taught?
No. By far, it doesn't resemble anything similar to what Bruce was trying to get his students in the first generation to learn.
What is the difference?
The biggest difference is that there's a lot of gross telegraphic moves. There's a lot of unnecessary trapping movements, the wrong application of the trapping movements, and the footwork is bad, and the actual timing in the fighting. There's no sparring. There's a whole lot of things that have been watered down. It's like having a fine wine that has been put watered down to have the coloring, but the flavor is missing.
Had Bruce been alive, do you think he would approve of what is taught as JKD
Look at his smile.
in his name?
No, by no means. He couldn't approve of this because this is not what he was trying to get across to people today. In those days either. He, in fact, would probably be so disturbed by the whole thing that he would shut everything down.
Remember, guys, how we get attacked all the time. How we get attacked all the time by all these unnecessary trapping. Trapping is unnecessary. It basically is, yes. You don't need it. Even if you can do it, there are far more direct and better ways to handle the situation. But remember how we get attacked all the time by different groups, lineages or whatever, you know, when we tell this, basically what he's saying. And you know, when you have experience with real Jeet Kune Do, then you can really understand what he's saying. If you don't, you have no idea what he's talking about. I see that only guys who are subscribers can chat. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted actually to open the chat for everybody, but now it's the way it is. So guys, if you watch and you're not a subscriber, you can subscribe, and then you can chat as well. So I didn't mean to do that, but I forgot to change. I actually thought I did change it, but I probably didn't save it. So okay, let's continue.
Has anyone tried to teach JKD when Bruce was alive to other students, sort of like to have to open another club in his name on his band?
No.
Why is this?
Because he wanted to make sure that things were taught and controlled.
Again, so let's
because he,
was alive to other students, sort of like to open another club in his name on his band?
No.
Why is this?
Because he wanted to make sure that things were taught and controlled the way they were supposed to be. So there was only 3 schools known back in those days. One in Seattle, one in Oakland, which I am from, and the other one in Los Angeles, where Danny Anasano and his gang is.
What was his attitude to JKD being mixed with other styles?
No. He was totally against that. It's sort of like trying to mix water and oil together. You know, you can put it together, shake it up, and it appears to go. But when you set it down, what happens is it separates. If it sits there long enough, it will separate.
So I don't think he said he didn't certify anybody to teach Jeet Kune Do, which I can understand. Bruce Lee didn't know that he's going to die in a few years, and also he wanted to have everything controlled. This is similar like Tommy. Tommy wants also everything controlled. So if you want to teach under Tommy, you have to stick to the curriculum to the letter. Okay, there's no mixing in stuff, there's no changing anything, so you have to stick. Similar like Bruce, so the idea that Tommy does is the same like Bruce's idea about teaching Jeet Kune Do. It has to be taught right, not like all these other guys. You're like, well, everything what works is Jeet Kune Do, so I can teach ape style and you know whatever. So that's not how this in Jeet Kune Do works, okay?
So did you used to do any other martial art before you joined up with Bruce's school?
No, this is all I know. This is the only thing that I know. Is Jeet Kune Do. Never took any other art.
So people are going to attack him on this because they're gonna say, well, he just learned Jeet Kune Do, he doesn't know anything about other martial arts. So it doesn't really matter if he doesn't. He learned Jeet Kune Do, he knows what Jeet Kune Do is, he knows what Jeet Kune Do is not. So if you attack him on he didn't learn any other martial art, if you believe that other martial arts have more value than Jeet Kune Do, but you still use Jeet Kune Do above your school, you should rethink that. You should, do I want even to teach Jeet Kune Do? I don't really agree with Bruce Lee.
you tell me something about the power of JKD? Because we've seen many of his other students, and they seem to be lacking the power that Bruce had, and also the speed. Can you explain why that is?
In other arts or
In JKD.
JKD, within JKD?
The first generation JKD.
Okay, well, the first generation JKD, we did possess power. We were trained to have power, and we did practice those things which would give us the power. But of course, as time went on, some of us drifted off, and the power then, of course, drifts with you. But then those of us who kept it up, the power remained, and you got stronger and faster.
Is there any JKD students from Bruce, the first generation students, that have this power and speed that you talk about? In your opinion?
Well, power, there are those of us who were pretty strong back in those days. But as far as now, time has taken its toll on a lot of them. And I would say the only person that may have any kind of power probably now would be Bob Baker. But as far as myself, I'm the only one that was able to, from that generation, to keep it up and to develop it without losing anything.
Can you tell me about the principle?
So Bob Baker, because Pierre is talking about Bob Baker, I wish Bob Baker had lived longer and opened up more. From what I remembered, he did not do interviews and agreed only once to do public appearances, which he did shortly before his passing. So I really have no idea about Bob Baker, but you know, Bob, he did this Russian part in Chinese Connection. I mean, I don't really know, but according to what Howard is saying, he was probably good, right? And I may rewatch the fighting scenes between Bruce and Bob, so I maybe can judge it better. So, but he basically said nobody, you know, was able to keep this after Bruce died, because probably everybody stopped to train, and so, you know, like, that's how it is.
Principles of JKD?
The principles of JKD is to maintain a level of proficiency that will stop your opponent in his first move, intercept him, and destroy him, and utterly make sure that he cannot get up and continue to fly at your throat. Straightforward and to the point. That's what it's about.
I've noticed there's not many students, there's not many teachers teaching this today, because everyone expected students to turn out like Bruce Lee, and you know, the Bruce Lee, to have Bruce-like skills. Why isn't there any teachers out there teaching the students in that way and developing the student in that way?
Because they themselves don't have the skills. How can you teach someone something you don't possess?
Yeah, I would say that's probably true. Dilshan Kavinda, hi. No one played trapping on street, yes. No one should.
Okay. Can you tell me about the truth?
Afterwards, we're gonna watch some trapping videos. I'm gonna type in trapping in YouTube and just pick up random videos, and we're gonna see how these trapping masters actually apply trapping, and how does it look like, how they are actually being attacked.
Truth in JKD, what the truth means.
As it applies to to what?
To martial art.
To martial arts.
JKD, to you.
The truth in JKD is that it is fast, powerful, and deceptive, and it will stop you cold.
Howard, after all these years, why have you decided to come out now?
Well, for a number of reasons. First of all, I was kind of coached into it, and then I had to rethink about it and find reasons within myself for why I wanted to come out. I was going to go ahead on and just be content to just keep the art to myself, because I wasn't one for looking for lamplight glory or any of this. I knew how to fight. That's their problem if they didn't. I was.
Do you see what he said? He knew Jeet Kune, he knew how to fight. The problem that other didn't is their problem. That was his thinking, but he changed. He wanted to come out to clarify what Jeet Kune is.
Being sort of selfish about it. But the more I heard of the things in the cancerous disease that was being taught and spread to the public, the more it got to me.
The cancerous disease that has been talked to the public.
I heard of the things in the cancerous disease that was being taught and spread to the public, the more it got to me, and the more angry I became, and sometimes I could just hardly wait to get out there and tell the truth about what real Jeet Kune Do is all about. And the people who were instrumental in helping me make this decision were Bob Baker, Ted Wong, and Jerry Poteet.
So the interesting thing, so the people who did help him to make this decision to clarify what Jeet Kune Do is, up until that point, were Ted Wong, Bob Baker, and Jerry Poteet. Interestingly enough, Jerry Poteet. Bob Baker, I don't know anything about him, but Ted Wong, I know that Ted Wong said the same thing to Tommy, because Tommy said we should clarify the public what Jeet Kune Do is, and Ted Wong basically said to Tommy, well, you should do that. And he apparently said the same to Howard Williams, but at one point Howard Williams stopped to go to the public. Okay, so I don't know when he passed away, but like he just, I think he received so much backlash, just similar like we do today, but I just don't fucking care what these guys are talking and what they are posting on their channels and everything. We know what truth is, okay, but it could be possible that he was just running against so much like against the wall, that he then just went away from public.
Well,
at what age did you start learning?
I wish he would like be alive today, like this. He's here, and we could do this thing together.
JKD.
Kung Fu Thomas, do you know if Tommy had plans of bringing Howard to Glasgow? Include him more. Howard passed away in 2012. Yeah, well, 10 years ago. Okay, so I don't really know, and I think the Howard Williams, he stopped training and he went like into a cloister or something. I'm not sure. He became religious, and that's how he just went away from this stuff. And so he, as far as I know, he didn't plan to bring him, which is, I mean, together Tommy together with Howard Williams, this would be probably another thing. Okay, but I mean, people are getting older. If you look, Tommy doesn't look like this, but Tommy is also 63. He's gonna be 64 next year.
At the ripe old age of 15.
So I take it you was the youngest member in the class?
Yeah, not only was I the youngest one, I felt so out of place because I was thrown into the advanced class. And it's sort of like sink or swim, do or die. James told me, he said, don't worry about it because we're going to be doing the same things over enough times where you will catch on, believe me. And I got the chance to see how natural things were, and it didn't really take that long at all because it was what came natural to me.
In your memory, what was the relationship between Bruce Lee and your teacher, James Lee? No, I'll rephrase that. In your memory, what was the relationship between James Lee and Bruce Lee? Because they was both your teachers.
Yes,
they both taught you?
They both taught me. Well, they were more like brothers and fathers.
So James Lee, so guys, James Lee is the guy who helped Bruce Lee a lot when he came to the US. Bruce, when he had financial problems, he lived in James's house. And all this training equipment, James Lee was welder, I think, and all this training equipment Bruce had, James was making for him.
Father and son, best friends.
You're saying that Bruce looked to James Lee as a father figure?
Yeah, because of the age factor, and a brother because of the closeness, and best friend because they hung out all the time. And he was always up there with Jimmy at his house. Sort of like he wanted to impress upon him his latest development and how much he's developed. And everything that he's shown Jimmy made sure that we got. There was no gap between the teachings.
So often would Bruce come by the school?
He was up there almost like every other week, every other weekend, yeah.
So
So Bruce went every weekend or every second week to Oakland school.
Yeah, we need to talk about when Bruce came along and said no more JKD, right?
Well, that was at the time that
Wait, I'm gonna ask a question. What was he teaching before? He was teaching intercept and fist. What was he teaching?
No,
before?
he was always...
He was teaching JKD.
Yeah. But it was Wing Chun before.
Wing Chun he was teaching.
Yeah, in the Seattle years. Then by the time he came, it was always Jeet Kune.
It was only Jeet Kune,
But
and he changed. He stopped teaching JKD.
No, he never stopped teaching.
Well, he said there's a time where he came in and he said,
Well, this guy who does the interview, he has no idea.
today we're going to do this, no more JKD. Or Jun Fan, this is JKD? Was it?
Jun Fun, yeah.
He was teaching Jun Fan.
Right, he was teaching Jun Fun, and then all of a sudden he changed and said, also, it's JKD, the way of the intercepting fist.
He was there that day.
Right, and I was there the day that the stances changed from this way to this way.
This is interesting. So he said he was there the day the stance changed. So from a Wing Chun stance to a more boxing Jeet Kune type of stance. The same thing Leo Fong told to us when I was in New York. So I was in New York, and Martin from Switzerland, a student of Tommy, and myself, Tommy, and Leo Fong were there. And Leo Fong said that Bruce changed the stance within 1 day. So like, imagine till Monday they were training Wing Chun, and Tuesday they were scrapped it. They just okay, no, from now on we're like this. And I found it hard to believe that you can change, like the martial, you can change your thinking or your attitude toward martial arts in 1 day. But he's confirming this, because this is the second source that says the same independently of each other, which makes it more likely true, right? That he changed from 1 day from here to there, okay? And according to Ted Wong, the stance changed even more on the later years. So the stance, the legs were more in line, and it went more towards fencing when he got rid of the trapping for good. Okay, so he didn't need the rear hand standing, like slightly open stance, to be able to use the rear hand for the trapping. So only concentrating on attacking, because you can defend and attack with attacking techniques.
Howard, we have on record that Bruce used to teach Jun Fan. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, Jun.
This is Jun Fan. So you have, I hate to interrupt, but you have to know that in concepts, Jeet Kune Do concepts, what they claim is Jun Fan Kung Fu is Bruce's Jeet Kune Do, and they take this as a basis. And you, on top of that, you throw different techniques from different martial arts. But Jun Fan Kung Fu is not Jeet Kune Do. Jun Fan Kung Fu is modified Wing Chun. And Jeet Kune Do came after Jun Fan Kung Fu.
Fun was actually Bruce's own style. He just used his name to teach another form of Kung Fu. That's all. It was nothing special. It was already tailor-made to Bruce, but he recognized the limitations within that way of teaching, so he even went further.
What did it consist of, this Jun Fan?
Well, mostly it consists of traditional kicks, some basic Kung Fu moves that were within the Wing Chun system.
What happened in 1965?
Well, in 1965, when I came into the school, he was just in transition. I guess he understood the limitations of what he had and had to take it a step further. And when he did, it changed from this to this. So by that, and that was more economical too. It was a lot smoother, the transition, mobility, and then what James did to help make it sink into us was that he would use the classical version and then showed us the revised version so that we could appreciate the difference between the two styles.
So I take it that he was...
Tommy did that as well at 5-day camp. So we did a 5-day camp, and the first day we did Seattle stuff, and the second day we did Oakland stuff. Well, Seattle stuff was awkward, man. Oakland stuff, and the third day, Wednesday, we did Ted Wong kickboxing. And the fourth day, we did then the fencing with hand and feet. The fourth day, and the fifth day we did then an application. That's how it was.
There, the first day that Bruce decided to change from Jun Fan,
Robert said Jun Fan was Lee's attempt to make Wing Chun work more efficiently, but he eventually abandoned the idea. Yes, because it's too limited. He did change it and make it work better than the traditional Wing Chun, which now all Wing Chun guys gonna say, "Oh no, the Bruce didn't learn the whole Wing Chun. He doesn't know the secret techniques or the secret forms after the first, the second form, and wooden dummy form and whatever." So, but he actually made his Wing Chun training more effective than the traditional one. And like Robert said, he moved away even from that.
Jun Fan.
Yes, Jun Fan.
I take it that he was there the first day when Bruce decided to change from Jun Fan, which he'd been teaching for many years, to JKD.
Right.
Can you tell me what happened that day?
Well, James all of a sudden said, "Well, everybody, we gonna change up now, so listen up." Bruce had made a new development, and we said, "What could that be?" We looked at each other, and all of a sudden he showed us this new stance, and we all thought it was boxing, And I remember it was even called kickboxing at first.
So people don't know, but actually, the term kickboxing started. The whole kickboxing stuff started with Bruce. He was teaching Joe Louis Jeet Kune for sport, okay, and Joe Louis participated in this first kickboxing tournaments, and he was like never beaten. And all this kickboxing stuff actually started with Bruce, what people don't really realize. That's how I understand it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the kickboxing even started earlier than that. But as I understand, the whole kickboxing stuff scene started actually with Bruce. And one of his students, he retired undefeated in his first kickbox full contact tournaments in the United States.
But it was called Jeet Kune, and that's where it had its first roots right there. I remember changing over. Then I began to feel more at home because I knew about the boxing part of it, and there was more mobility in it. And then we still used the trappings and the things that were carried over. There was still some resemblance of the old art, but the speed and the power were much greater than the old stuff.
And so this was the transition period, like from one day to another, more or less. Okay, so of course there still was some trapping in it. Even Bruce did some Chisao even in the 70s, but at the early 70s he eventually abandoned Chisao, okay, because he couldn't make Chisao work with Karim Abdul-Jabbar because he was so he had so long arms, and he had to use different tactics against an opponent like a Karim Abdul-Jabbar. More footwork, more broken rhythm. And this worked against a tall opponent like Karim Abdul-Jabbar. But guess what? The same stuff works against small opponents far better than trapping Chisao. So he saw, okay, I make this work against big guy. I can make this work against everybody, so I don't need Chisao trapping.
In your training sessions, did you used to fight for real, or did you have protective equipment?
We didn't use protective equipment back in those days. The only thing that protected us a lot of the times was just a hand held over the face. And we were at the mercy of the other person at all times.
Can you tell me what happened in your first meeting with Bruce?
It was an awesome experience. It really was. I never forget the time he showed us his sidekick, his newest development called the burning step. I was in front of that kick, because I was what Bruce called rugged, which I may explain to you later, I don't know. But I was in front of that kick, and he told me he was going to kick me. And I stood there, and he told me that when I saw it coming, to try to get out of the way. And I did the best I could to get out of the way. And believe me, it was a hopeless situation. By the time the kick had gotten to me, it stopped right on my chest. And I couldn't move back. It was too late to think about anything about moving. It was already there. And I felt the awesome power. I had a different respect for Bruce from that point on, because I realized the power that was emanating from his kick. And it was really an amazing feeling to see something like that firsthand. And we were all eager. I think that's the time that I was determined that I was going to develop my kicks to be like Bruce. You know, we all go through those stages. We want to be like our teachers. But I was just determined to develop my kicks. And I did. And that's where the power comes from today in my kicks, from that one experience I had with Bruce.
Around that time, he was doing film work on the Green Hornet set.
Right.
Did you see him during that period?
Well, he used to come up between breaks and between shoots and things for that.
Kung Fu Pierre said, I think you're correct regards the kickboxing term. Yes. I mean, guys, think about that. The whole kickboxing scene comes from Bruce. He did teach Joe Louis how to use hands and arms, you know, kick and box, okay? And this guy was undefeated, and he retired undefeated, and he was trained by Bruce. Okay? And this is how all this kickboxing started. Of course, the kickboxing of today does, you know, is not, it's also pretty much telegraphic, and it's not as proficient as Jeet Kune is, you know, like Bruce died early. But it's because of him. And many don't know that. Many think Bruce Lee Kung Fu. No Kung Fu.
Time period, him and his family came on up, and he would continue to show Jimmy some more development. It was not really a real vacation. It was just more of a visit, you know, it was family.
Another question from Wissenheimer's World of Wisdom. Hi. Is it correct to assume that Tommy streamlined Ted Wong's Jeet Kune Do to street fighting only because Ted Wong has sports-oriented aspects? Does Tommy Jeet Kune Do compromise less techniques? It's other way around. Because according to Ted Wong himself, what Ted Wong was teaching was sport fighting. He said it himself on 2 occasions when he was asked what he was teaching on the seminars. But it's the same, basically same thing what he was teaching on seminars that he was teaching also Tommy and other students. But what Tommy does, he actually applies Jeet Kune Do principles that Bruce set out for street fighting with main targets, and I mean, you can use the hook kick to the groin, or you can use it like Ted Wong to the stomach. Why would you kick to the stomach if you can kick to the groin? Okay, Ted Wong never used a side kick to the knee in his teachings, only to the upper body. Okay, so who is limiting himself? Same is with no finger jabs. The only finger jab Ted Wong taught was the long one, but that's only one finger jab out of hundreds variations. Okay, so who is limiting himself here? Okay. But the base mechanics on punching and kicking we do comes actually from Ted Wong, yes.
And he visited our school. We were his students, so to speak.
We hear a lot about Bruce.
A burning step, Robert Van Dap. That's, you know, when Bruce does a side kick, and he you know, when before he kicks the shield, you know, the step he does, that's the burning step.
His lightning speed. Is JKD really that fast over other martial arts?
Oh, yes, it is. I have to attest to that. But we have to understand that Jeet Kune Do is tailor-made to the individual. So speed is relative to the person himself. You have to have structural speed. Well, I take that back. Jeet Kune Do is a structurally fast art to begin with. And if you are a slow person, you have no place in Jeet Kune Do. But then again, everyone can develop a certain amount of speed. But whatever you develop within Jeet Kune Do, you can apply that same day.
Was Bruce Lee impressed with you as a student?
Well, he used to look at me and call me rugged. And I guess that meant something to me. I didn't know what it meant. I guess it meant physical toughness. So whatever he did, he took this lump of clay, me, and chiseled me down to what he wanted me to be. Between him and James, I am what I am today.
What was James Lee's opinion of you as a student?
Well, as a student, he was quite proud of my development. He said I had natural attributes. The things that came natural for me, I remember him saying that Bruce had to work at. It's all in genetics, I believe, but I still had a long ways to go. So that's when I got the name Rugged, because when James told...
Talent or natural genetics, talent is very important. There's a difference when you have a talented student or a student that's not as talented as much. Talent gives you a really good start, and as a teacher, it's far easier to work with this guy. Opposing to a guy who is not so much talented. Okay, that's so El Patron. Hi El. Is it true that Bruce Lee is the first source for American kickboxing? It appears, yes. Yes. The whole kickboxing started with him, which he doesn't get any credit.
Bruce, these things, Bruce would then come to me and look at me and just keep saying rugged. And from that point, he just chiseled me down to what he wanted me to be. I was clay in their hands.
In the Oakland school, would you say Bruce was developing fighters, real fighters? Or just a keep fit
No,
workout?
this was not just an exercise
Listen
for
to
just
this.
keeping fit, although that was part of it. But he was developing real fighters, believe me, people that wanted to go out there and really stop a person, people who were prepared to fight and to defend themselves, not these little Mickey Mouse things. You wanted to stay fit, you go to an aerobics gym. You wanted to dance, you go to a dance school. You want to learn to fight, come to Jimmy's school.
Now, the JKD that exists today, do you think they have the speed that Bruce had?
The speed that Bruce had?
According to Horror Williams in this interview, the term kickboxing was first used by Bruce Lee. Okay. And like I said, the first tournaments, kickbox tournaments, full contact tournaments, he trained Joe Louis for that, and Joe Louis retired undefeated.
Okay. Did it teach you to develop the speed that Bruce had?
Schools that are now?
Yeah.
No way.
Did it teach you to develop the power?
Again.
The speed that Bruce had?
Yeah.
Bruce to Jimmy's school.
Now, the JKD that exists today, do you think they have the speed that Bruce had?
The speed that Bruce had?
Okay. Did it teach you to develop the speed that Bruce had?
Schools that are now?
Yeah.
No way.
The schools that are now, do they teach to develop a speed that Bruce had? And he said, no way.
Did it teach you to
Remember what schools were around back at that time he made that interview?
develop the power that Bruce had?
Today's schools?
Yeah.
No way.
Why is this so?
Because they lack the attributes. They lack the tools that it takes to develop such skill.
He's looking right
They
at
don't
the
have the
camera.
skills to hone in on developing, so how can they teach their students?
All right, tell me about projection.
Projection.
What do you mean by projection in JKD?
When I say project, I mean to be able to put into you what I want you to feel. It's emotional content or contact. It's what you feel, to bring it out of you, to be able to express yourself through your art, through your hands and your feet. That's...
Is a lot of JKD mental? Like in most martial arts, you hear it's 70% mental, 30% physical. Does that apply for JKD also?
Well, yeah, but it depends on what you're thinking. You see, it's not so much the meditation or transcendental this or that. It's being able to take what's inside of your heart, what you feel, and be able to apply it and project it through your hands and your feet, through your art, through your martial arts. Just like a painter, there's mechanics in everything that we do, but there's always that time when it becomes so natural. You feel so good about what you're doing that you can just paint it across the canvas, and they don't have to even hear a word you say and know exactly what you mean.
It seems a very heavy burden after all these years to take on, the responsibility of Bruce Lee's art, to continue it and develop it further. How do you feel about this, having that burden on your shoulder? Because you yourself...
Okay, we're gonna do a break from the interview. So we're gonna watch now a few trapping videos. Okay, so because what we wanna see, we wanna try to see how these videos are presented and against what attacks are actually these techniques are presented. So let me just switch here, and then we're gonna just Google on YouTube. It's not the Google, it's YouTubing. So so here, trapping. Okay. Let's see. Okay, trapping. Then we have here a lot of videos where some animals are trapped. Oh, there you go. Let's see this one. Okay, so let me switch up. Okay, let's see Wing Chun hand trapping. There's no music? Why is there no music? Okay. So, I guess this is a real Wing Chun, okay? Still, there's no single punch, okay? So, no single punch. Always watch what this guy does. It's always this hand out, okay, reference point, and then going from there. So, but because they let the punch out, so there's no punching. There's always, oh, here, there's a pause, and then from there you trap. But you have to trap a real punch, which is never shown. Weird that nobody see. Adam Chad said the same as Howard as well. That's why Jeet Kune not for everyone. They can't make it work. What do you mean by that? So the problem is, like Howard said, if you believe to his words, is all the Jeet Kune schools that were around at that time, which is basically concepts, don't actually teach Jeet Kune. So how can anyone make Jeet Kune work if he doesn't really learn Jeet Kune? I don't see any punches. I see only Wing Chun against Wing Chun, and so I mean, when you watch Wing Chun against Wing Chun fights, who does stand like this in front of you, like here, in real confrontation? That's the pure beginning of this all. But they say, oh no, that's when someone punched and you collide. But when someone punched and you collide, does he pause there? I did this in my videos so many times. Look, let's watch this here. Filipino trapping, same idea. Okay.
Und unbewaffneten
It's a German.
Auseinandersetzung.
Yeah. Okay, Hubert. I did train this as well. I used to train this as well. Look at these punches. Look at these punches. So look at this punch again. Look at this guy. How he punches and then he pauses there, you know? So then he can pull his hand away and then he does the trapping here and then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 3. So the initial punch is... That's not how it works, guys. Sorry, but you're not gonna... That's why you never see this stuff work against real attacks in full speed sparring. Let's talk about that. It's not gonna work. What is this? Look at this attack. Look at this guy, how he's attacking. This here. Oh, let me punch you. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my god. Lubad. Yeah. Give me that. Give me a knife in the hand. So this, let's watch this. No, but I mean, come on, guys. Even if you would show this in a movie, Hollywood movie, people would say, man, what is this unrealistic stuff? Okay, so let's do Jeet Kune. Trapping Jeet Kune. Oh, Inosanto trapping. So do we see any attacks?
Great blast was good, the trapping was good, is that he knew there was a time and a place. Times he would handle point and back fist. And back fist is one of the joints.
Reference point,
Catch
okay.
fist. Block like this and trap and back fist. So the minute they block, usually the back fist would be in here. But for the training, he'll jab, you catch it, and he'll do 3 back fists in this manner. Then he's going to...
The funny thing is, when you go there, so you don't need, if this hand's blocked, let's say you do low body shot, and this hand's blocked, you don't need this hand. You can go from here to here without other hand trapping.
Usually, and he'll do 3 back trap and back fist, trap and back fist, trap and hammer fist. That's the hammer fist. It's a side hammer fist. It's still a back fist, but it's a fist. Trap and hammer fist, trap and hammer fist. Trap.
I want to see attacks where this works. Attacks.
So you trap and back fist. Others will answer with the rear hand, so you're doing the first trap. Or he can kick, and he can bridge for me, and we'll do the trap. So there's many ways you can bridge it. But right now, I'm isolating this position here. So if I trap the first barrier like that, and if this rear barrier does not go across the center line...
Nobody fights like this, guys. Come on. My God. Fancy choreography, absolutely. Good for movies, yes. No one pauses in real fighting. They forsake their own safety to eat you alive, yes. I mean, if guys come swinging and punching like this, or let's see. CCTV punching. TV attacks. Okay. I mean, the problem is to find the right stuff here.
Recognize the level he was at. Bruce Lee was that type of a martial artist. He's
What do we have here?
Defending with the left hand. Now if you look, defending with one, like this.
Same stuff.
But
These are the drills they do since 30 years. Nothing has changed. Look at this. Look at this.
Control with 3 hits.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
This will include the trapping, this section here.
Oh, I want to see it now. Trapping with actual attacks.
Focus family has to be up. And I want you to do is parry and hit the focus glove. So that's the first one. 1. His hand retracts. You throw 3 punches that he signals, and then you kick. It could be any kick, but right now I'm using the lead now attack in slow motion. That's the first. Same thing, but his hand doesn't retract, so we jerk the hand down. We follow with.
How do you pull his hand down when he's punching? He has to pause.
One trap.
I mean, you can parry and counter at the same time. But the thing, when you counter him, you hit the guy actually. And his hand is still here by the time. My God. Okay, so El Patron, you can show some cringe trapping from that Jeet Kune. I don't want to give him attention, so I mean, my God, these guys. Inosanto stuff is close to Jun Fan. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. It's not Jeet Kune. Jun Fan Kung Fu. Yeah, and Bruce moved away. Kenan Dogan, hi Kenan. I'm from Sifu Thomas. I'm from Frankfurt and also JKD practitioner. Where do you train JKD, Kenan? And a fan from Sifu and you. Please show Xu Xiaodong fighting against Kung Fu fighters. He shows real punches, attacks, but what? Let's. If you're for Frankfurt, why aren't you in my class? So. Oh yeah, this guy. I know this guy. I mean, this guy goes and punches Kung Fu guys. I know. That's nothing new. But this is what happened. Wing Chun. I think I know that one. Yeah, there you go.
Guys, this is amazing.
Yeah, this
It
is
was
amazing. I
trending
know,
on-
I know, I know, I know. Let's go here. So now this guy is going to punch. Is not going to use. Okay, oh my God. This is the problem with Kung Fu. There's no body weight behind the punches. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. You can go forward. If you punch the guy, what happened there? Boom, boom, boom. And then throw. So here you have same idea. Again. All the sides of a Kung Fu guy, there's no cover, everything is open. And he tries to go forward and does he punches, but you know, you're not standing just like this, like a Wing Chun guy. You move and everything. That this guy has no answer. This guy has no answer. That's oh boom. There you go. Look, blind spot. Look here, no cover, and he tries to block, but you can't block this. You have to evade or parry, but you cannot block this. That's it. Knockout. Oh, now knockout. So same. Okay, now he knows. Oh man, I'm done. Boom, boom. Uppercut. Where's the uppercut? Shovel hook. It still takes him too long, if you ask me, man. Okay, that's it. I mean, I've seen videos of these guys, but you know, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. There you go. It's nothing new.
Has a response, and it's going to be different. So anytime you learn like a technique like Ping Choi to Gua Choi, you have to be ready for the response, because every system will have a different response. There are systems, if you throw the low jab, they'll block it, and then you throw the high back foot to block it, and then they will punch low. So you have to be ready for that type of individual. Then there are systems when you go low, you go high, and they will punch high.
Oh yeah, you wanna
response.
step the punch like
Others,
this?
when you go low,
Are you kidding me?
they
Here,
will punch high.
you wanna do this? Look, this is already in the face. People really think that other people stick their arm out for them in a fight. Yes, I mean, I wanna swear here, but this is what it is, and I show that in my videos. In order to make this work, the other guy has to let you do it by waiting. Right? He doesn't wait. There's no contact. There's no trapping. The only way you can make this work is going in. You know, when he's basically not attacking. But in this case, everything works. If the guy is not doing nothing, you can just punch him or kick him.
Okay, that's one response. Others, when you go low, freeze. Now he's going to come high now, you're going to come to that.
Yeah, of course.
Others, when you go low, freeze. Now he's going to come high now, you're going to come to that. Okay? And others, when you have to now come...
You know what? A fast karate fighter is going to go through this like nothing.
Right lead and left lead. Right now I'm going to keep it, and he goes high. There are some people that will hit low. Okay? That was the natural response.
I mean, do you want to see more? Do you want to see more of this? Trapping to boxing. Okay, this is a second. So why is he waiting? This is typical. So you do the trapping technique in order to do the trapping technique. No, so now because you want to do this. Instead of he's not committing to hit him. He wants to get blocked in order to get trapped. Okay, let me see. Why? Why? What's the purpose? Too much talking. Yeah, it's the same. Going here, then Pak Sao, and then back fist. What are you doing, man? Oh, Kali and Bob Breen. I used to have... exactly these video tapes. I had these video tapes. And I had 5 of these video-tapes. I paid like 100 D-mark back at the time per videotape. I had five videotapes. They cost me 500. It's like I threw it in the trash. Look at his punches. 1, pause, 2, and turn and pause. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. And that I guess this is the trapping that should work. What is that low block? It's hilarious, yes. It's so funny and sad how people view fights. It's like a movie or something. Why get close when you don't have to? Yeah. That low attack has no intention, no target, nothing. Sifu Thomas, I love your words. That is how to push or trap that art of hands. Not possible. Bruce went away from that, absolutely. Trendkiller, hi Trendkiller. The purpose of trapping is making it look cool and impressing, yes, to noobs. Absolutely. It's a lot of... it's a selling tactic. Trapping is a selling tactic. You don't need it, you know. When somebody blocks, even if he pauses, you can easily attack him at other lines. You don't need to remove the hand. But who does that? Who pauses? Most Street Fighters are headhunters that fully commit. Yes. Sun 209. When they come and punch at you. Kali looks very inefficient. Count Frinkula, hello, hi Fabian. So, my God. So let's continue this.
Has decided to take this on.
Well, it's something that must be done or the art will die. The misconception that people have today is so sad when it comes to Jeet Kune. It's almost embarrassing to be associated with it the way it stands today. But I am determined that I will set the record straight. And those who...
He said something has to be done, or otherwise the art is going to die. That's why Tommy started the IFO, okay? And that's why that's also reason why this channel exists, okay? So some people say to me, I'm showing too much. So this used to be, all I'm showing used to be talked, you know, like behind the doors and everything. And then I responded, and since this was hidden, how well did it do for the art? You know, I mean, I'm not showing everything I show you on this channel. There are many variations, and it's only a part of a whole story. But at least you know what direction it goes.
who are willing to learn and truly understand, I'm here to help. Otherwise, those who don't will be cast aside.
All right. Are you willing to share your knowledge with other JKD teachers around the world today?
I don't mind sharing my knowledge with any martial arts teacher, so long. Well, I take that back. I'm very particular about who I share my knowledge with. That's why I never came out. But within our clan of JKD, if the teachers are willing to take time to learn how to truly...
By saying our clan of Jeet Kune, I think he means the scene of Jeet Kune.
truly fight, then yes, I'm willing to help them and lend my time to them so that they can develop their students.
Now, in some of Bruce Lee's films, we see him fighting with nunchaku chains and sticks. Was that part of your training program?
No, we didn't get into weaponries because what Jimmy used to say was,
Okay, listen about weapon training.
how many times are you going to go walking around the street with sticks and knives in your hand? You're going to only have what you have. And you have to learn to use what you have to defend yourself. You're not going to say, hey, wait a minute, I got to go get my stick. I'll be right back now. Don't you move. I'm coming back. No, you're going to say, okay, this is the way it is. Pop. It's all over with. And then take the knife from him and then go about your business. So we had to learn everything from our raw material, hands and feet.
So is stick fighting JKD?
Stick fighting.
Is it part of your program? And do you think
Well, I
is
can
it
take
pure
let's
JKD?
put it to you this way. I can take 2 sticks and apply JKD with them, and you would swear that it was Kali because the movements are natural. But all it is just an extension of my hand.
So that's what Tommy said to us. I remember exactly what he was saying. He's got probably he has it probably from Howard. Ordinary fit. Hi David Urbina. El Patch from Sifu Thomas. I'm planning to visit your club at the end of November or beginning of December. Okay. What he says, you don't need stick training in order to use sticks, for example, because you have learned how to punch, how to kick, and how to use angles to attack your opponent. That's most different thing. So when you use a stick, you use it. It's the same like your hand techniques, but you use it like as an extension. So you can go straight, you can go from this side, and you can go from this side. So there's no, you know, like this disarming techniques with sticks, which is laughable. You can't do that in reality. So you have to hit the guy. That's what you do with your hands, your legs, and also if you have a stick in the hand. Okay, and same with a knife.
Simple as that.
Tell me if the music is too loud.
Nothing special, nothing to try and learn to do. Just take the sticks and use them. You say, well, how is that possible without any lengthy prior training? Simple. What you do with your hands, you can do with your sticks. Simple as that.
All right. Right. Why has there never been any JKD competitions for free fighting?
Well, first of all, the reason that we never did have any of those things was that James and Bruce didn't believe in getting out there with the art and putting it in restrictive rules and regulations that govern contact fighters or tournament fighters, because this is strictly a street fighting art where there's no rules that apply. Anything goes. Do or die. Move.
You hear that? How many times did I say that?
Street fighters that govern the art. Reason that we never
Competition. Right. Why has there never been any JKD
Hi Frank.
competitions for free fighting?
Well, first of all, the reason that we never did have any of those things was that James and Bruce didn't believe in getting out there with the art and putting it in restrictive rules and regulations that govern contact fighters or tournament fighters, because this is strictly a street fighting art where there's no rules that apply. Anything goes. Do or die. Move, you lose. Attitude.
Frank says, yes, carry a small club concealed occasionally. That is the way I look at the like said. Nothing fancy, an extension of arm, yes. Also the thing with knives or weapons, when you have a weapon, I mean, it's a self-defense situation, so you have to react. Usually you get attacked and you have to react quickly. So if you don't already have the weapon in the hand, you cannot use it because you have no time to pull it out. But the problem is, if you have already a weapon in your hand, this could be already an act of aggression. Like you have your weapon in the hand and the other guy can say, well, I felt threatened because he had the weapon. So I mean, it's far more important to learn how to use your limbs and not weapons. Okay. Stick fencing. Ordiner David Urbina, I just tuned in. What is the video about and who is the individual in the video? So this is Howard Williams, a student of Bruce Lee, and he's talking about Jeet Kune and how he wants to came out and clarify things about Jeet Kune. And you can watch the interview, it's on YouTube, or you can watch the stream afterwards from the beginning. So just stick around. Premeditated, yes.
You get disqualified in tournaments with that attitude.
Are you confident that you can teach students how to have Bruce-like skills? Because it seems that this is what's lacking with other teachers. many students go to dojos hoping to get Bruce-like skills and come out disappointed.
This is the thing I say always. When you teach Jeet Kune, but you don't teach Jeet Kune, you have just a name above your school and you teach multiple different martial arts and you say, well, everything that works is Jeet Kune, with what to teach. Alone this logic is I mean, you know, so when you're a student, you want to go to the school and you want to teach Bruce Lee stuff, but you're been told you're learning Jeet Kune, but you're not. This is a fraud. Okay. If this was anything else but Jeet Kune, huh? It would be a criminal offense, you know, like you want to learn medicine and you get something totally different, so, because Jeet Kune is not regulated, you know.
That's because the teachers don't have Bruce-like skills. You can't blame the student because they come to a dojo to learn, and if the teacher doesn't have it, once again, your students won't either.
And the student, even if the student is dedicated, he's not going to have the skill. So if the student is not dedicated, it doesn't matter how good this teacher is, he's not going to get the skill. But if the student is dedicated and he comes into to a teacher that doesn't have the skill or doesn't have even theoretical skill, he's not gonna go nowhere near Bruce Lee. And this is what you see with all these guys. I mean, he's telling that, you know, right? We are just repeating.
And you just keep getting the more watered down version of truth.
What is this truth you talk?
Guys, just a second. So I'm back.
Talk about in relation to JKD.
Well, this truth in relation to JKD is that which is eternal, never changing. The fact is, it's always changing. The truth is, in JKD, is that it's always changing, whereas in other arts, it's stylized and limited and crystallized in this.
So that's what's always changing in Jeet Kune Do is making the art more efficient, more effective, streamlined. What Bruce said, it's not daily increase, it's daily decrease, so right? And that's what basically also we do, okay? And of course you can make new drills, so like Tommy does. So Howard is saying this while Dan was teaching. Yes, he was. That was 9. I would say, because this is a VHS tape. I would say that's 90s, maybe 80s. I don't know. Not sure. You have to watch. Have to see. Is there a description about that? Early 90s. Yeah. There you go. Early 90s. Robert Van Duff, cognitive dissonance is psychologically paper. Yeah, you have to imagine, you train years and you think you do Jeet Kune, and then guy like this or guy like we come out and say these things. They're gonna hate you. They're not gonna listen to any logic. They're just gonna attack you from all sides, which happened all back since. Everybody who comes attacks us with same arguments like him back in the 90s or us late 2000s until today. Nothing changes. Bruce Lee also, is it true Izo invited you to the podcast? If yes, will you join? Why should I join this? Why should I talk to a to a Wing Chun guy about Jeet Kune? He doesn't have no idea about Jeet Kune. I have more idea about Wing Chun than he knows about Jeet Kune, so he's all about Wing Chun. Trust me, I've been through this on German forums in 15 years ago, and there's no purpose doing that. And also, what interest should I have to talk about if I'm invited by all the martial arts, we say it's not Jeet Kune, and then you go and discuss with these guys about this. There's no purpose. It's just a waste of time. Bruce Lee, when someone attaches their own identity to belief system they have deeply invested into, an attack on the belief system feels like an attack on their identity themselves. Yes, the people are too much bound to the styles they do. They think like the style, they are the style. I don't care about these guys, you know. If something doesn't work well, it doesn't work well. You can train it. You can think it's the best thing in the world. And Bruce was I don't know, actor or something. Thunderbolt Joe, hi Thunderbolt. Will using a double and reflex bag help? You can use this, but you have to know how to use that. I had one, but I didn't use it much. This is the reason I enjoy this channel, because I always learn something new. Thank you. Thank you very much. So,
or that approach, and it's an unnatural approach. It is like trying to teach a left-hander how to be right-handed and vice versa. You can't do that. Teach the person how to fight from where they are. Discover the cause of ignorance. That is also part of truth. Before you can teach truth, you must understand where it comes from in relation to yourself. Not Bruce Lee, not James Lee, or any other person, but yourself. So JKD, when it comes to truth, is only applied towards self and the discovery of the cause of your own ignorance.
What are the benefits of being a fighter?
The benefits of being a fighter,
as opposed to being a teacher?
As opposed to being a teacher?
Or you both?
Well, I'm both, but...
Tranquilla asks, have you thought about making videos with other IFO practitioners and instructors in the future? How can I do that? We are scattered throughout the world. Like, for example, John Paul, he's in Mississippi and USA, I'm in Germany. How can we do a video together? That doesn't make much sense. You can like invite him to an interview, but I don't see really a purpose interviewing Tommy's students. I would rather interview Tommy himself. Like why would somebody want to do interview with myself, with me? Doesn't make any sense. Other for like this guy, he wants to defend his art or whatever. But in terms of Jeet Kune, why would anybody want to do an interview with me if he can do an interview with Tommy? I just happen to run this channel because I became a full instructor, so you know.
I like to teach because then that way I can make sure that you are a fighter. Whereas just being a fighter doesn't guarantee you the ability to teach. So therefore, you can't project. You cannot bring out the attributes in another person that would make maximum worth of their own natural abilities. So I'm both.
I notice in your character, you're almost as cocky as Bruce was. You know, you're very similar in a way in your attitude towards life.
It's confidence. No one can have any more confidence in you than you do in yourself. If you go around with the attitude, that defeatist attitude, that I may not be able to do this, I may not be able to, I can or I can't. To me, the word can't means won't. If you've trained for something long enough and you trained in the right way, in the truth, then you have no problems with focusing your confidence when it comes to others and your martial arts. And others can see it in you too. It is not being...
Joe Mob said, last Tommy's interview was great, could be a regular thing on this channel. Yeah, that's the plan, to do like 2-3 times a year a interview with him. So we may do one end of the year or something.
Being cocky, it's not being arrogant. It's just being able to understand who you are and being able to live it. Someone asks me my name, I don't have to put my head between my shoulders and think about it. I say Howard with pride and confidence.
You have a nickname now called Flashpoint. Tell me about that.
Well, that
he's talking
nickname
about
came
himself,
to me because of my instant ability to attack and to hit. And then it came, that's when you get hit, when I hit you, it's a sudden flash of light and then all of a sudden darkness. You know, it's something that I've acquired. It's one of those names that stick with you. It's not meant to be arrogant or disrespectful, but truth is truth.
So you're known as Howard Flashpoint Williams.
Yes. Yes, I am.
So you talk about this explosiveness.
Yeah,
is it the same thing as like Bruce was trying to do, from 0 to 100%?
Exactly. There's no deviation and no variances between that. What I do when I take off with my punches are as fast from takeoff as it is.
Look at his fist. I think he's one of the guys who had this huge fist from conditioning.
Is when it hits the target. Whereas most martial artists, when they hit, they speed up between the different stages and try to, at the end, make contact. But I'm at 110 from my shoulder to contact. No variances in speed. So I get there quicker. It's not really, it's sort of like, you got to think, got to get there, you got to hit there quick, and you got to get there in a hurry. If you take off slow...
just to say your secret, how can you achieve this kind of acceleration is relaxation. So the most people are kind of tense up when they punch. You have to be relaxed, as like when you lay in your bed and you want to sleep. So that's how you have to be relaxed in order to be able to punch quick and sudden. And then not just fast, it's sudden. Robert Van Duff, we can hold beliefs about martial arts without making them sticky. We can watch our beliefs flow by while not becoming the beliefs. So the thing about Bruce Lee, he didn't care about styles. He never cared about styles. He cared just about. That's why he said it was maybe a mistake to name his art, because he didn't believe in styles. He didn't believe in like no progression. So when as he developed Jeet Kune and when he found the way that things work better, he adopted these things, and the things that didn't work as well, he threw them away. And that's a always evolving art, okay? But at some point, you know, if you if you have used the maximum potential of being efficient, non-telegraphic, and still powerful, then eventually you're gonna come to one point where you can't change as much anymore. Like, for example, from start to the end. Okay, so but you still don't stay like, you don't have this stylish thinking about fighting.
And develop a top end, you may not get there. But if you take off fast, it's like a dragster. You fly off from the target and you win the race at the end, and you just go right through it. Just tear his head off. Explode through him.
He did a demonstration for us over the weekend at the Ibis Hotel, where a JKD teacher or instructor held the air shield and you kicked him. Oh.
I remember.
Can you tell us what happened there? Can you tell us what happened there? And we could go for this after.
I told him that I was going to kick him and how to hold the air shield so that he wouldn't get hurt, and how to go with the kick so that would be no real pain. But oh no, he didn't want to listen. So he decided that he was going to show me up, so to speak. So he stiffened up. And when I made contact with him, with my left leg too, by the way, he didn't go back as far as I anticipated him to go. But he took the brunt of the kick, and it hurt him bad. It hurt him in his ribs and in his midsection. And he almost was not able to come back for the other two kicks that did move him back. And as a result of stiffening up the first time, he had told me that he was spitting up blood. And that was just with my left foot.
I take it you never use the right foot.
No, because I have emphasized so much power in my right foot that I don't use it in demonstrations, because it goes through everything. Bruce, one of the things that Bruce said that distinguishes a true JKD kick from the average other martial artist kicks is that
Bruce Lee says, I think he closed his schools because he thought it was a mistake to try to commercialize his art in the first place. I'm not sure about that. We were talking about this already a few times on the stream, on the last stream. I mean, there are a few reasons why he could have closed the school. It may be financial reasons, where, you know, the schools didn't really bring much money in, and then he couldn't really teach in those schools when he started his film career and everything. And then, you know, who's gonna run these schools? So you're gonna close them. So I mean, and it's hard to say because you would have, you know, really talk to him about this.
Power involved in it. It goes through everything. You cannot block it. You cannot stop it. You can't do anything to deter it if you don't get out of the way. When it lands, it'll cut you in two.
Now, you also master Bruce's 1 and 3 inch punch.
Right.
Can you tell us about the demonstration you did some time back?
Yes, I remember one of my students and trainers that I used to practice with. I used the 1 inch punch to demonstrate the effectiveness and the power of being up close in a close quarters and not being able to have time to draw back and then hit, but from right where you are, which was what James and Bruce taught us, and to develop on-the-spot power. I remember I told him to...
So that's the reason why you have to know how to use your weight shift, how to use your body rotation into the punch. Okay.
Pick up a telephone book, and
you need the right mechanics.
Here again is where he messed up. I told him not to brace himself. Oh no, he wanted to show me that it's okay. So he had a telephone book, and he put it up against his tricep, and braced himself. And I told him all I was going to do was just extend my wrist and my elbow and explode from the waist. And he didn't believe anything either. So I concentrated, freed my mind, and as soon as I was ready, I exploded right through him. And he dropped the phone book. He didn't move, and he couldn't breathe either. And what happened, he couldn't inhale, he couldn't exhale. And that was going on for a minute. And I was getting scared. I thought I seriously hurt him. And out of his own desperation for his own self, he was jumping up and down trying to get some air. And I guess Mother Nature had mercy on him, and he took a deep gasp. And he explained to me what had happened to him inside his body. He said he had felt it. It was like a shock wave from head to foot, and I would hit him on one side, and he felt the punch on the opposite side, and it had scared me to the point I'd never use it again. Never use it again. Or I make sure that they have ample protection. And because I have seen people use the 1-inch punch, and all they do is go back a few inches, no power, no nothing. And I was saying to myself, if they were in a street fight, they would get killed. They would literally beat them to a pulp because they have no way to stop that person who's going to take their life. And they may not get a second chance. That's the one thing that motivates me, because I see so many people getting hurt out there in the streets. And I said, if they only had proper training with what comes natural for them, then they could escape a lot of the troubles that are be facing them in the streets.
Now, in the early days, Jesse Glover was Bruce's first instructor. Have you been in contact with Jesse since? Are you good friends?
Well, we're not good friends, but we do know each other. We spoke together. He knew my stepfather, and he knew my mother. And I, like I said, was so young. You know, I was the youngest one of all of them. Everybody else was 15 to 20 years older than me. So, you know, I was just coming up on their coattails, so to speak. But as time.
Also, he was here. What he said with stopping the guy with a one single blow. This is the whole idea about JKD. I mean, the people say you can't stop a guy with one punch or one kick. It's a total nonsense. When they say you can't do this, what they actually mean, they themselves can't do this, and then they project their lack of skill to other people. So once you know all the mechanics and you train and you train and you train, you develop, and over the years, you never stop. You always try to get better in this. And then eventually you hit the guy and you stop him dead, right? And then it also helps to attack vulnerable targets, okay? Not to attack him there where it's the biggest muscle and the biggest bone, like outside of the upper leg or something, you know, so it's logical.
Go on, as time went on, we come to find out that no matter how Bruce is developed, the truth still remains the same. It is power and speed and directness. And the thing that really matters is not so much how strong you are, how quick you are, but who can get there first will determine the outcome of the.
So, and what's important there? Timing. So you have to have the good timing. You know, you can be the quicker guy than your opponent, but still don't hit the guy because you punch at the right moment. But he punches at the right you punch at the wrong moment, but he punches at the right moment, and he hits you first, despite he's actually a slower guy.
Encounter, and speed has its place in Jeet Kune, believe me. Power, I've seen people who hit with blinding speed, but it's like throwing an egg on a rock. It just crash, nothing. I've seen people that had the strength of a rhino, but it took them 10 years to get there. And
okay, wait.
Then I've seen people that had the strength of a rhino.
Okay, rhino. But he thinks probably a real rhino, right, guys?
But it took them 10 years to get there. And then the opponent had already sliced them into ribbons and gone. So you have to have a combination of both to be effective.
So take it that Jesse and you arrived at the same truth.
Speed and power. So you can, if you're slow, you can have power. If you're fast, you can be weak, and you have to know how to combine these two.
Same conclusion, and both being involved in Bruce's life at different times, different period, you still arrived at the same truth. Why do you think that is?
Because the principles were the same. It's just the way of applying them was a little different. Principles and truth. You don't change principles. You don't sacrifice principles for cause. Just because you develop a different way of applying your skills don't mean you change your principle, which is speed and power. Hit, more hit.
Tell me, Howard, what is JKD for the people who don't know the terminology?
Okay, well, Bruce really didn't want to call it anything, because I tell you why. When you were a young kid or teenager or adult, there's a time in your life that maybe someone picked a fight with you, and you had to defend yourself. And that guy was really trying to knock your head off. What did you call it that you used to defend yourself? Think about that for a second. Okay, time's up. Nothing. You can't call it anything. Why? Because it actually was you.
So, the thing that Bruce, when he said you shouldn't, you know, take the name Jeet Kune too seriously, is more a philosophical approach to this. So he says it's when it becomes natural. There's no name for this, okay? But and then the guys use this as well because you don't use the name Jeet. You shouldn't like overthink the name Jeet Kune. Then Jeet Kune is everything. But where's the connection between these two things then? When the art shouldn't have a name, okay? That the art is multiple arts. Okay, so why? It's like cherry picking, you cherry pick stuff that support your agenda. Bruce Lee, most people think you cannot hurt someone really bad with just one punch. It's because I know occasions where people got hit with one punch and they died. In most sports except MMA, the glow are really big. The force distribution is much weaker. They have done a scientific tests with MMA glows compared to boxing glows, and the MMA glows did even dampen more than boxing glows, which was funny. You miss the glow. You don't have a glow on the side or on the inside, but you're padded. You still padded here. And the padding on the MMA glows is even bigger than on boxing glows, like professional boxing glows. That the padding you have all around the padding, but the padding on the top is like thinner. That's how I understood it. So the MMA glows are still dampening. So if you have like good conditioned fist and you land it on the naked bone, it's even more. It's even more force that gets through, right? So it's just physics.
So you cannot call you anything but yourself. The expression of you. It is not Jeet Kune. So I don't call my art Jeet Kune. I call it the way of the intercepting fist. It's actually no name. Can you look at a bottle of orange juice without naming it? Can you look at anything without naming it? Can you look at yourself without naming it? Naming who you are? You're only a human being. Second, you're a martial artist. Third, anything else you want to be. So when it comes to defending yourself in the street, you use that which comes natural to you at the time.
So is this really what JKD is? What comes natural?
What comes natural, that's all it is.
It's not a style.
It is not a style. That's why a lot of people don't adhere to it very well, because they're looking for this glorious flower-like expression, and it's not there. It's pop to the point, and it's all over.
So Jeet Kune is not the style because it's pop there and it's over. Not because it's multiple arts. It's in this distance it's Wing Chun, in the other distance is boxing, and then in longer distance when you kick it's Taekwondo, and then when you close in, then you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. No, that's wrong. Okay, it's that what he said. Okay, listen to it again.
Glorious flower-like expression, and it's not there. It's pop to the point, and it's all over.
So the JKD systems that's being taught today.
It's very philosophical at the end of the day. So the people overthink this, and they try to interpret their own agenda into this. Like I said, cherry picking stuff to support their own business, right?
Would Bruce have approved of the system being taught?
System, no, because you are teaching organized despair. So you instructors, you better pay attention to what you're doing. The students, instructors, you owe it to the students to teach truth. That is, once again, the main reason why I've...
That's the main reason why he came out, and that's the main reason why we are doing this, to teach the truth.
come out of the backgrounds, because I want to make sure that they have at least an intelligent choice to make between them.
Amazing, really amazing that this interview is really has went under. And I did post this interview in the German martial arts forum back in the days when we were discussing about Jeet Kune with all these Jeet Kune concepts guys, and we were posting this interview, and you can't believe what excuses they find to just ignore this. Unbelievable. The same excuses the guys are using today. The guys from 20 years ago, same excuses the guys who are born 20 years ago, and then they do concepts or what, and then they use the same excuses today. Nothing has changed.
That which is being taught, and that which is the truth. Then they themselves can decide which one they want. It is not like I'm trying to dominate anything. I have it already. I want to give the people chance to choose between that which is happening now and that which Bruce wanted them to truly know. Then they could
So think about it, okay? He wants to come out to show them what is the truth, and as a student, as practitioner, it's your choice. You wanna stick to the blue pill or you wanna take the red pill, okay? To use the matrix terms, okay? That's what it is. You wanna still stay in your made-up world, or you wanna see what's behind?
determine what truth is from there. And the reason that I personally am doing it is because of respect above all for Bruce and for his legacy and what he wanted us to know. And according to him, all things exist, first of all, from within. They're now being taught things that are from without, and they don't even understand who they are. How then do you know what you're looking for if you don't first understand who you are? Discover the cause of ignorance within yourself, and the battle is half won. Then you have to be willing.
Okay, so you have to win the ignorance within yourself. With all this information we provide here, you still ignore this. It's your problem with yourself, right? Bruce Lee and they know that they are isolating information out of context. Absolutely, it's like when we say we don't spar, we fight, and they just take we don't spar. They say, look, they don't spar. You know, it's misleading on purpose. They just hope people will trust them without doing research. It's most of the time it is that. So once the student comes into your school, right, it gets this information provided, and that's what he believes. And let's say he trains 1-2 years, and then he sees my videos, and then he gets pissed at me because it happened that the other guy was the first one who provided anything to him. Karim David, hi Karim, what's up, man? I have watched a few video game videos of yours, but I don't stick because most of the time I go to bed. So don't forget the game Condemned. I told you, you have to play this. Good to see you again on Howard Williams. Great interview. Hope everyone is well. Yes, Karim, absolutely. That's a great interview with a lot of truth in it. And most people never heard about that. Tommy Noble. In a sense, it's the way of the ultimate reality. Yes, true in combat. Red pill, Jeet Kune, yes. Yes. So you can you know, like keep your take the blue pill and keep the stuff and just stay in the dream, or take the red pill and wake up.
And to learn, work hard, and apply yourself to obtain the skills that Bruce wanted us to learn.
This sounds like some of the philosophy that Bruce was speaking about in Longstreet, the TV series, the way of the intercepting fist.
Oh yeah, Longstreet.
Yes, because in that program, the philosophy that he teaches is truly the philosophy of Jeet Kune. It only that series where you find the things that he really wants us to know. And that's just covering a tip of the iceberg. That's not saying you go out and get you some Longstreet tapes and you have the secret formula to success.
Yes, Howard Williams passed away 10 years ago.
In Jeet Kune, no, it isn't. It doesn't mean that. It just gives you an example of some of the things that he talks about and that he lives by in Jeet Kune that are not being taught today. In other words, what Bruce was saying is that he is seeing through a clear glass darkly. He is beginning to discover the cause of ignorance, but he still is refusing to let go of the old, to learn the new. Mm-hmm. As he was mentioning, in emptying your cup that you might taste my tea. That's simple, direct philosophy, but it all...
That's, you know, the funny thing is they use that scene or that idea in Karate Tiger, or what is it? Karate Tiger with Jean-Claude Van Damme and the guy, what's his name, McKinsey, or, you know. So, which is true. If you want to learn Jeet Kune, you have your knowledge here. You know, this glass is your knowledge, and other glass is what Jeet Kune has offered to you. And when you have to empty this glass in order to be able to take Jeet Kune. If you keep this and you take Jeet Kune, it's not gonna work, you know. And that's basically would mean you would mix Jeet Kune with other stuff. So
also tells you that in order to understand what I got to offer, you have to first be willing to say, okay, what I have is not functional. And I want to learn that which does apply to me. How can I tailor make the art to fit me? Not to be like someone else or to hold on to some style that I...
is there any footage of Howard Williams? There used to be something. If I could type. There's something.
Things happening.
That's him
with the
on the
art
left.
and how he exemplifies it. That and I see things happening. Work out times. How
You
did
can
I
barely see.
work out. And
I mean, this guy's already in, like in on guard position. When you should attack immediately.
see things happening.
So he went like to the side,
with
he
the
blocked
art
and punched at the same
and
time.
how he exemplifies it.
That's the same video.
That always amazes me and puts fear in me. Awestruckness between fast and little.
Tommy, I mean, you can really see much in this video, but Tommy said he was lightning fast as well.
Harder. And each time I do that, increasing my speed, or defeats my friend, I would finally
That's the same scene. Although that's a bit different.
Capitol High School. Had a friend of mine, Gary Kaganin, wanted us to meet him, and we finally did. Howard showed us the Lapsao trapping hand punch technique, and wasn't so impressed. But a week or so passed, and during that time, Gary, the home that belonged to Jimmy Lee, and there in the garage, they were having
Oh, that was a
class,
groin kick.
and,
All right.
there in the garage, they were
Man.
having class. He introduced us to the students and told us that they were kicking his apparatus with 300 pounds.
Oh, there you go. I like that one.
They were kicking his apparatus with 300 pound
Boom.
apparatus that Jimmy had.
He moved a lot like Bruce in the
apparatus that Jimmy had.
sparring demo.
With 300 pound
Boom.
apparatus that Jimmy had. We all got up there and kicked it and felt like we were impressing the students. And we were from various gun fu schools.
So now he shows how to attack from the neutral position with the back fist.
But when we were done, Jimmy immediately said, let me show you a real kick. And we called Howard to the apparatus. We were a bit embarrassed because we thought we really had done something. I remember Howard kicking that apparatus with both legs, one foot to the ground, about an inch and a half to 2 inches.
Do we have more? Oakland Jeet Kune, but that's... Oh, this is garbage here, look, a picture of us. Yeah, this guy knows. Oh, there's another one. There's Tommy. It's myself again. So let's see this one. Oh, that's Howard. Now going in. Yeah, that's typical Oakland stuff. You go in. Okay, that's it. I mean, there are no more videos about him.
I've been used to, and that's not working. Or determined to, better yet, I know some people who say, I'm determined to make what I have work no matter what. I've spent 10 years in this art, and I know it works. Well, the graveyard is full of people like that, and it will continue to be so.
Now, your right hand. Now, your fists are like dynamite. Can you tell me what you call your right?
Robert Van Darf, on emptying one's cup, beliefs can be sticky to the ego identity. Yes, that's where when Bruce said, you know, the hardest thing is to be like truthful to oneself.
Right hand and what you call your left hand.
Well, my right hand is to get hit with this right hand. To be seriously hit with this hand is sudden death. I may be smiling, but I'm dead serious. My left hand it's 6 months rest. To get hit with this hand can put you away for at least 6 months. You think about what you're doing. Maybe to help discover some of the cause of your ignorance, why you picked on me to begin with. The reason why is because when I train, the way Bruce wanted us to train is that we develop depth and penetration of the blow. I see a lot of martial artists, when they hit something, they only hit the surface of it. They don't know how to drive through it. They don't know how to take this hand and put it behind the target that they're hitting. So we have drills that we use to develop and hone those hidden powers, so to speak, which is really nothing special to learn. It's just that you have to be willing to work hard. And if you're not willing to apply yourself, then you can't get out of something what you want. You only get what you put into it, which is very little.
Bruce Lee says also, congrats on being the only gentleman in this silly drama. Our real man never gets aggressive so easily and for silly reasons. What drama? We are not making any drama. We never made any drama. We just came out with the truth.
Let's talk about the philosophy of Bruce, what he was teaching, and the philosophy of JKD. Has it died now with Bruce, or has it still
guys,
continued?
I'm just providing you with
troubles me
info.
when you say philosophy. See, people have to understand, Bruce did not want you to follow him. He wanted you to discover who you are and be your own leader. It is not so much, I want to develop my philosophy so that I can go around talking like Bruce Lee, fighting like Bruce Lee. Some of me want to look like Bruce Lee. No, that's not what he wanted. Although flattery, imitation is the highest form of flattery, but it won't get you anywhere in the street. Make no mistake, he wanted you to be a fighter first. But first of all, you are a human being. When you understand who you are in relationship to that, then you can apply your art to any walk of life that you might travel in. And understand that, and you develop your own philosophy based upon the guidelines that Bruce was trying to teach you.
There you go.
His
So there are the guidelines, okay? The guidelines, philosophy of the martial art, okay, right? And based on this, you get talked, punches, kicks, blah blah blah, and everything, you know. But at the end of the day, it's you who you have to apply this, which is to tell you the truth, not so much different from than other martial arts. So at the end of the day, it's always the individual. Some individual can make a martial art work better than other one, which you see in Jeet Kune as well, plenty. But and Bruce was heavily into philosophy.
He didn't want you to imitate his philosophy. No, you lose the point that way. It is like what he said in Enter the Dragon, when he pointed his finger to the sky. He said, don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss out on all that heavenly glory. We're concentrating too much on Bruce Lee. No, he didn't want you to concentrate on him. Concentrate on what he was trying to project through his fighting skills, through understanding who you are, so that you then can discover your own heavenly glory.
Now, tell me about the story about the Tai Chi fighter in Oakland School.
Oh yes, there was this one guy. One Sunday, we was on my stepfather and I were on our way to training, and we got about a half block away from Jimmy's house, and we saw this man come reeling out backwards and down the driveway, and we said, "Look at that man! What's happening?" So by the time we got up there, we said, "Jimmy, what happened?" He said, "Did you see that?" I said, "Yeah, we saw it. What happened?" The man was trying to sit back and plot and plan and scheme ways of developing a defense against what we have. And he figured he was pretty good at it. In fact, no, I won't say his name. I'm not going to name drop him. But he was a student of Tai Chi. And he figured that it would work against us. And Jimmy said, "I am so glad you saw that, because Bruce would have never believed it. Not that he didn't doubt the effectiveness of the technique, but that Jimmy actually knocked somebody down in the back, down the driveway at his home." It's not hard to conceive, because Jimmy was a strong man, but because of his age, you know, and he was getting up there, Bruce being 20 years younger than him, was more physical than Jimmy. But Jimmy was a great practitioner too, don't get me wrong, and a better to me teacher than Bruce, because he took time and made sure that we learned the technique over and over and over. Those who got tired left and never came back. Those who stayed learned.
You see, Bruce studied philosophy. Yes, that's true. But he didn't went through the whole school. He dropped out before. So that's what he said. Again.
That was one of those over and over. Those as he took time and made sure that we learned the technique over and over and over. Those who got tired left.
So James Lee, right? So you teach the guy like straight lead or sidekick, or you do thousands, 100,000s of reps, and you do it until it becomes natural. most of the people never come to that point where it becomes natural. Because either they stop training or they come to training too rarely. I have students, I see some of them once every few months, some once every few weeks, some once a week, and some I see, the least of them I see every day. Sometimes it's related to the work, you know, some people have to work shifts and then they can't come every time to training. But some could actually, but they just don't train much. And also, I mean, I teach twice a week. If you really want to get good, that's not enough. So you would have to practice or repeat your techniques additionally in your free time, right? So.
And never came back. Those who stayed learned. I was one of those who stayed and learned.
I like this guy.
Now, Bruce often worked out with Linda. Can you tell me more about... No. Now, Bruce often worked out with Linda. Can you tell me what was the reason behind Bruce first trying out experimental things on his wife, Linda? What was the reason behind this?
Well, the main reason was, though, to experiment. It was sort of like she was the closest human to him, and most times was the only one around that he could work on or work with. So he used her to refine the art, experiment, see if the technique worked. Then he would bring it to us. If it didn't get past her, then he didn't. We never saw it. We never saw it. And you know why? Being if it can't get over on a woman, it ain't gonna work in no street fight either.
So did Linda Lee often come down to the school also?
Yeah, her and the kids, they came down too. We were all like family. We just stuck together. Went to parties, went to restaurants, went to dinners and things together. Yeah, we stuck out. We hung out.
So I hear from a good source that you actually helped to paint Bruce's house. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, we all went down there to do that. It wasn't just me. We all went down there to do that. It was an experience. It was just something to do. It was like a housewarming thing, you know, to get together. We had a Kung Fu Gap feast, and it was fun, you know, beautiful. It was just an experience. There were times we didn't even have to work out. We just hung out. But then there were times when it was time to work out, and it got serious.
We're going to talk about a few stories of Bruce, yeah? I mean, like, we can remember where you went, any little things, you know, just general.
Bruce liked to joke around. He was a very practical joker. But they refused to let loose and relax and to go with it. Then you could see some of the anger come out. But it was mostly frustration because he wanted so badly to see that person have a decent fighting apparatus with himself and to develop him. And, you know, it's just some people were just born with certain abilities, and that was it.
Have you ever seen him lose his temper?
Well, I've seen him raise his voice. I've seen him take it out on sometimes students, but I've never seen him really get mad and really want to bail out somebody. No, I've never seen that. I guess that was all done behind the scenes of his movies and things when he had to have that in order to survive because there's so many different personalities they have to deal with. It is a lot different than teaching somebody martial arts. I remember sometimes Jimmy used to tell us that some of the things that have happened in his past and about iron palm training and why it was useless as opposed to just developing strength and depth and penetration. Now, I don't have any calluses on my hands, but I do have marks on my knuckles from where I practice on different surfaces, but they're not calluses. It's just discoloration of the knuckle from training. You can see it, but it's not hard. But the power that's behind it is hard. It comes from inside you and then projects outside. But you only get out of something what you put into it. I put in a lot of hours in training, and I'm still developing too. I am still not as fast as I can be and will be, and not as powerful as I can be. I can get a lot stronger, and I think about maybe a half time.
So same with me, you know, like I never say I'm the best I can be. I can go better, get better, and everything. I could train more. I could move my ass out of the chair more often, you know, than I maybe do. And that's part of the journey. You always try to get better.
1.5 times faster than I am now.
But I hear you're very fast.
That's just the flawless telegraphing moves that I have. I don't telegraph my moves. That's it. Did you see that? Flawless telegraphing moves that I have. I don't telegraph my moves. That's it. Did you see that?
Oh, that was fast.
Flawless telegraphing moves that I have. I don't telegraph my moves. That's it. Did you see that? But you know, that's to me, it's not as fast as I can be. I personally feel that I can develop my speed to the point where it doesn't look like I move at all. And it won't be too long before I get to that point. One person asked me, is all of that speed necessary? And I said, well, it is, because you don't
Robert asks, Seattle, is it strange that there's no late stage JKD instruction anywhere? It's all Wing Chun, Jun Fan, or Inosanto. You would think Seattle would have that. Well, Robert, I mean, maybe you can do this, right? So start your training, online lessons, see Tommy on regular basis. I know it's hard nowadays with money and everything, you know, traveling. But it only one can it only can be done if somebody brings it to there, okay? Not just Seattle, any place.
want to waste time. The older you get, the laws of physics are against you, and you have to be a lot wiser. You have to get there quicker. You cannot waste time jumping around like some rabbit or some fancy boxer. You know, you don't want to spy with that person. You want to get close enough that there's nowhere he can go. Fancy boxer.
You don't want to spar that person. You don't want to spar that person in fighting. That's why we say we don't spar, we fight.
Wiser. You have to get there quicker. You cannot waste time jumping around like some rabbit or some fancy boxer. You know, you don't want to spy with that person. You want to get close enough that there's nowhere he can go. In other words, you want to put yourself where you're safe, but he's not. My age
Tommy says that sentence often.
right now, at my age, I still have some speed and power to be developed. And some people think I'm fast now, but in a few months to a year, they haven't seen nothing yet. And I know this from in my heart, not just because I'm saying something from the top of my head. I'm 39 years old. That's
He's what, 39 or 49?
not just because I'm saying something from the top of my head. I'm 39 years old.
Well, he was in the interview, he was 39. I'm 43 now, so I'm 4 years older than he was there. HV, Seattle is early stage, so it makes sense. Bruce allowed Taki to continue Junfang Kung Fu, I believe. I'm not sure if Taki was really instructor or he just had a degree. Or he was allowed to run a school, but because that's this difference. I don't know. I don't really know.
That's irrelevant, but yet it is important to realize that the older you get, you can't waste motion.
Yeah.
The economy of motion becomes very important. You want to put yourself in a position in relationship to the fighter.
So I can tell you something. If you, it's a great benefit that you have learned Jeet Kune in your early ages. So you have already this efficient movement. And when you get older, it's easier to cut down the movement. So you don't, you know, because when you're young, you can jump around more and anything. You know, like when you get older, oh, my left knee, my right knee, or this and that, or, you know, my, I have, for example, I have in my right ankle, there's a tendon, like, what was inflated, or I have no idea from what. I didn't do anything. Just one day it started to hurt. And I can tell you, it's like since 1.5 years, and it's all it's just now starts to go away. You know, it's when you get older, things like this, they just stick for months and for months, and then you can't go around. I couldn't go around for months, you know, and so I wait until it goes away, and then I'm gonna start run again. That's getting old. You just have to concentrate on things that you can do.
Where you're safe, but he's not. Anything that he does, you can catch him, but he can't catch you.
Yeah.
You don't need to be bouncing around like some fancy boxer trying to prove a point. You don't want to be another Muhammad Ali. You see, you don't want to imitate any of those things that's going to cause you to waste time and motion. It can cost you your life. I'm still developing.
Did you understand that, guys? Or any other guys who may watch this stream after? Sorry. Or any other guys who are gonna watch this stream afterwards. So listen carefully to this guy.
And honing in my own skills, and I can become 1.5 times faster than I am now, and a lot more powerful.
I have seen that. I have seen his son Andy teaches Jun Fan, but calls it Jeet Kune, because I don't care if you teach Jun Fan Kung Fu and but calling it a different name than it is a problem. Even Bruce said you shouldn't care much about name, but you shouldn't how you say, you shouldn't on purpose say mislead people, right?
Even at this age, there's no limit to physical conditioning, except when you die.
Tell me how, is JKD for women?
Yes, indeed. JKD can be for anyone.
I had a female student. She was so talented. She was really small. Her body weight was less than a half of mine because he was really small. But she moved really good, and she had the talent. She is one of the most talented persons I know. Not females, but persons. But like most people, at one point they just stopped training.
I was willing to learn.
Now, did Bruce ever teach his wife, JKD?
Yes, he taught her, but he used to tell her that as far as he was concerned, the best thing a woman can do against a man in reality is poke him in the eyes, kick him in the groin, and run like hell.
No.
Is
What?
poke him in the eyes, kick him in the groin, and run like hell. Against a man in reality is poke him in the eyes, kick him in the groin, and run like hell.
If a woman can do that, imagine what a guy who is almost 2 meters can do with that.
Now, your training program was very heavy. Did Bruce drive his students very hard?
James did, that's for sure. Bruce, I'm sure he drove his students hard also, but basically they couldn't keep up with the true paces of Jeet Kune. That's why the class fluctuated so much, because they couldn't keep up with the paces of the training.
Your side kick is very powerful. Your right kick you never use, hardly ever use, in any demonstration, because of the excessive power you have. Can you tell me about the 300-pound bag Bruce used to have for kicking and training?
It wasn't a bag. It was a spring-loaded, heavy car shock type kicking apparatus, and it weighed over 300 pounds. And we had
That's
to drill on our side
1,000 weight
kicks by
dummy.
kicking that thing. And if you had a good one, it would mash all the way down. It was a board, and it would all the way back. If it wasn't a good kick, it would kick you back, and it wouldn't go anywhere. It would make a little noise, but it wouldn't move. So that's how he gauged the side kicks, and he gave us a lot of drills and exercises to develop the kick.
Now, what did Bruce used to do to this 300-pound piece of equipment?
Well, he was able to drive it all the way back at will and rock the foundation, just as I was. The only ones.
You and Bruce?
Me and Bruce.
Now, James Lee often discussed you with
Tommy
Bruce.
could kick,
Do you know
kick
what the
this,
topic of the
this
discussion
thing
was?
upwards.
Well, Greg Lee, his son, often overheard his father and James talking about me, father and Bruce talking about me.
No, start again.
Yes.
Now, James Lee often discussed you with Bruce. Do you know what they talked about?
Well, Greg Lee used to mention that he often heard his father and Bruce talking about me, and the developing of my skills, and especially my sidekick, being able to rock the same kicking machine that he did, the same way with the same power. And one day, I was in Bruce's presence, and he called me Rugged, and I got that nickname from him because of my ability and size.
I tried to find a video, but I can't
So he
find
felt
it.
he had something to work with. He could mold me and chisel away at all my non-essentials to make me into what I am today. And in between him and James, they did pretty good.
You don't spar with a car when it runs over you. Absolutely. Play seriously. Bruce Wards. Yes. Techie was instructor, and his son now teaches Chun fun commercially. Yes, we had that. Bruce Lee, true. Putting a show in the ring for fans has nothing to do with street fighting, and not even that. I would say it has nothing to do with fighting, because Tyson was a fighter. He wasn't a boxer. He was a fighter. So he went into the ring and he just went in to destroy. And that was his mental attitude towards. He didn't went in, oh, I'm gonna dance a bit, and like he went in with the attitude to destroy the guy. With that, what he had, okay. Ali would never dance around in street fight. He would punch the guy with the first occasion. I guess so. Yes.
How old were you when James Lee acknowledged you as a super fighter?
I was 19, about 19, yeah, 19 and 20.
You know the Klitschko brothers. The Vladimir Klitschko and the Vitaly Klitschko, the older one and the younger one, and they had a boxing match at the same evening. And the younger brother, he was boxing first, and the older brother, he was his boxing match started after the younger brother's match. But they were in different places, different cities. Okay, so Vladimir started his match and he lost, and this was his first loss in career. And Vitaly, the older one, he heard that and he was so pissed. And then he had to fight, and he went into the ring, and he just ended the fight as quickly as possible to get to his brother. And he boxed totally different than he actually used to box. And I want to try. I have no idea what fight against this was, but this fight was. I mean, he bombed the other guy.
Do you think he was almost as fast as Bruce Lee?
Well, according to James, I was unnatural as far as my abilities were concerned, but and I didn't have to work at it as hard as Bruce had to work at it. But I don't compare myself with my Sifu in that manner. He saw what I had and he took it and developed it into what I have today. I don't like to compare my speed with his speed. I don't like to do those things. It's disrespect. I respect my Sifu. They were my Sifus. And when you work hard at something, it is their pride and joy to see you develop and even surpass them, because that way they can see the fruits of their labor, and it had not been in vain. So had he been alive today, he probably would be very pleased, I would think.
Could be this one. Wait, guys. I'm gonna switch it here. Could be this one. Let's see that.
Gentlemen, yes, as I introduced in the locker room.
I think it's this one. Maybe not.
Das gelten für Außenseiter für dieses Duell. Er ist 13 Zentimeter kleiner, aber interessanterweise.
He is even bigger than me, but I'm about the size. I'm a little bit smaller than he.
Das sind nur 2 Zentimeter.
It's German. I don't know if he's gonna win that one as quick. No. That's not the fight. Oh, there's the knockout. Boom, boom, boom. And there's... No, that wasn't the fight, guys. Sorry. So...
And would probably want to do more things with me. So in that respect, I would say my speed in relation to his, who knows where it could have taken me. I'm still not through developing my speed.
Now tell me in your words what you think a true fighter should be.
I'll try to find
In my words, a true fighter should first be physically fit, strong and capable. That's just the outer attributes. But there are some people who don't possess those physical abilities, but they have the heart and they have the true way of thinking. To me, they can be just as good, because every fighter, every human being has something that he can develop to use to defend himself and can increase the skill in. To go along with the fact of what it consists, what a true fighting ability consists of. Now, I personally would say that you can have all the fighting skills that you want. You can be the best fighter in the world. But if street fighting is the only place that you can apply Jeet Kune, then to me you've missed 3/4 of its meaning. Because the philosophy behind Jeet Kune goes a lot deeper than just fighting. What makes a person good is the way they think. So you think, so you are.
How did James Lee's passing affect you?
It was a great shock to me, because I felt like I was lost without a teacher. And Bruce was too far away at the time for me to just run down to him and to become a part of his organization with his club. So it was a great loss to me. But little did I know that I had all I needed to know for the rest of my life. And all I needed to do was just continue to develop, because I had the thinking already and ability. There was nothing else to learn fight-wise except continue applying oneself.
You see, so... Okay, right.
Now, what did James Lee die of?
James died of what is called today as the black lung. He was a welder by trade.
Oh, yeah.
And
He was a welder.
he took sick, and they didn't have the same protective devices they have today to protect welders from that illness. And he suffered for it. He has been welding for 20 years, and it took its toll on him.
Now, roughly about a year and a half, Bruce also died. How did you feel about that?
I couldn't believe it. Here we got a revolutionary system, and both of their founders and instructors gone in a moment of time. And it's unbelievable. It's just hard to believe it. And all of a sudden, all the Bruce Lee would-be's came out of the woodwork like roaches. And everybody was honing in on trying to be the next Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, this, that, and the other, and imitators. And then there's cinema. So it really made me sick. I refused to go to any other school because I wanted to keep what I had pure and what they taught me the same, and just develop from there. From what they taught me up here, I could use to shape my entire life in Jeet Kune Do, and can use it in any other form of life too. Even in riding my car, going to the store, anything. Jeet Kune Do, the philosophy behind it applies to everything. It's a way of life.
Do you think there's any instructors or students around now living that way of life?
There may have been a time when they had the attributes, but they, like anything else, when you don't apply something, you lose it. When you don't use a muscle, you lose its strength. They became Jeet Kune Do atrophies. They just lost the way. They have memories, but that's about it.
And your task now is to put them on the right path again.
They're on the right. That's my whole goal. They're coming back from the woodworks, so to speak, is to set the record straight again. Set those who are willing to be set straight and shake those out who aren't willing to be shaped.
So, as you can see, this is a hard work that somebody won't even believe. I mean, imagine you're a student, you want to learn you want to learn Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's stuff, and then you attack a guy like him. You know, this is like the guy who is actually providing you what you want to know, but you ignore that because it just happened. You was talked by the other guy.
So,
and this is how Tommy got pissed at Ted Wong, because when Ted Wong said that he was teaching sport fighting, Tommy was really mad because he never told him that. If Ted Wong would have told him that before, Tommy would probably, how do you say it in English? He would approach this differently, okay? And that's how when it came out that Ted Wong said that Tommy just went more towards street fighting. Although I always felt, even when Ted was alive, that the stuff Tommy was teaching was really for street fighting. And Ted Wong's stuff was sport fighting even before it came out what Ted said about his teaching. Because there was a on Tommy's forum like 2009 or so, Tommy said in the forum, asked the question, there were two types of Jeet Kune Do when Bruce was alive. And what are those? What were those? And I said, well, one sport fighting, one street fighting, because I always felt that Ted was more like sport and Tommy was more like street, and I thought that was the differences. But Tommy said, no, the differences was the one was what Bruce was teaching to his students, and the other one was what Bruce was training himself, because Bruce was always ahead. But at the end of the day, I was right about Ted Wong.
Are you willing to discuss this with the existing JKD teachers or clan as they're known?
Well, I feel it's time to start a whole new vineyard and get rid of the old and bring in the new. You know, as they say in the Bible, the wheat and the tares grow together. So you have to dig them all up together and sift out those that are no good, and those that are will remain. And from that, we have something to start from again. It's only fair that those who have tried and are truly interested have a fair chance.
Yeah.
Right now, they're on the right train, but on the wrong track. And the light that they see at the other end of a tunnel that they think is daylight is only another train. According to Jerry Poteet, Ted Wong, and Bob Baker, out of that first generation group, I am the only one qualified to continue to carry on in that tradition. And it's not that I'm out to challenge anyone. I'm not trying to get any fame or glory. That doesn't interest me. Truth does. And helping those who are willing to learn, that's where I come in. Setting them straight and helping them to discover the cause of their ignorance. And if the instructors that are involved want to learn, then I'm more than happy to teach. Simple as that.
Now, Howard, can you tell me what a 1-inch punch is? You heard that Bruce developed a 1 and a 3-inch punch. Was this ever taught to you?
Yes, it was taught. And it generates a lot of power. It's the it's actually was meant to demonstrate the effectiveness from the on guard position without having to draw back and come in. You from right here can give man any type of headache you want from close quarters that you would if you were to draw back and give a haymaker. In fact, the 1-inch and the 2-inch punch has a lot more power than most punches starting from 8 inches away. But if you have true power, you start from 8 inches away, you don't have nothing to worry about. But the true ability to give a 1-inch punch lies in the simple chemistry of focusing, bringing together all the elements into one and concentrating on them. And when you do, you realize that you have something in you that you have never imagined possible. It is a dangerous thing to come in contact with a true 1 to 2-inch punch. I know a couple of my friends one for sure I know almost died from one that I gave him. Oh. And I have demonstrated it to several people out here where I am now. And they have never seen anything like it. And in comparison to what they've seen, what they've seen is equivalent to maybe a 5-year-old punching you with all this strength in comparison. Now, I remember when I first learned a 2-inch and 1-inch punch, I had to practice and practice and practice. And I was so frustrated that I went back to Bruce and asked him to show me how it was done. And he told me to watch. And when he did it, I paid close attention. And you can imagine the concentration that I had at that moment trying to learn how he did it. And when I watched him, all of a sudden, boom, he exploded and asked me, how did it feel? And I said, I wasn't concentrating. I just focused. And he said, that's it. That was the secret. Focus. Clearing your mind of all the obstructions that are in it. Being able to bring together into focus all the training that you have been taught throughout all the years and months that you put into practice. And just doing it without thinking.
Bruce said, a lot of people do not research the truth. They search for what they want to hear. I mean, yes and no. A lot of people don't even know there's a, like controversy about this art. So you go to a karate school, you think you're gonna get taught karate. You don't question anything. So the first contact to Jeet Kune, So the first contact to Jeet Kune was to me this series of fighting method books. Used to be 4 books, and based on that I trained. And there was a Jeet Kune concepts group here in my city where I live, and I went there and for free trial training, and immediately I saw they don't do any Jeet Kune, so I never went back. But I was lucky because I had that book, and also the all the comments from the Bruce Lee's comparable fighter, and so
it didn't dawn on me. I was struggling to try to do something that came natural. That's the whole secret to the whole legacy of the intercepting fist, doing that which comes natural. I know some people who look at an art and say, well, the more complex it is, the better it should work. No. On the contrary. Bruce Lee, as I knew him, is what I like to just briefly touch on for right now. There's a lot of myth to a lot of things happening, but what is real should be made mentioned. And that is that Bruce Lee was first and foremost a man, human. Then he was a martial artist. Anything else that he developed stemmed from within those 2 elements, being human and a man. And a lot of people ask me, well, what about Bruce Lee's training methods? Well, there are a lot of boxers who train hard, a lot of skiers who train hard, but what is it that sets them apart from those who are just mediocre versus those who become champions and go on to excel beyond that which is required of them? Is it their physical ability? Nope. Is it something else? Of course. So then what is it? First of all, Bruce wasn't a physical specimen. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco, but he was raised in Hong Kong. Now, as a kid, he was skinny, puny, and wasn't much to really look at. But as he got older, he started to worry about that and wondered what it would be like to be alone and without his friends in an alleyway somewhere. And he had to defend himself. So he began to take up Wing Chun, and he began to study it. His father actually was his first teacher. Of course, that wasn't enough for Bruce. He began to lay the foundation for what makes a champion from right there, because it wasn't enough for him to have just one. He wanted to know everything, and he wanted to be good at it. Okay, So he persisted and continued. And eventually, by the time he was 18, became a man and decided he wanted to come back to his roots in San Francisco. By then, he was pretty adept in Wing Chun. And he moved to Seattle, of course. Most of you know this. And he opened up a little school there and began doing his thing there. And he realized that his Wing Chun was fast, but it lacked power. And then that was the first discovery of his limitations in the art. And each limitation discovered disturbed Bruce immensely. And he was determined he wanted to overcome that weakness, each weakness. So he persisted and continued, and he became power crazed. So he had what was called turbo Wing Chun, turbolized Wing Chun, had the power that it was meant to have. Then he thought he was holy terror until he went back to Hong Kong. And guess what he discovered? That he wasn't as good as he thought he was. You see, the people that were in his class with Yip Man were also developing and were able to get in on him about as many times as he probably was able to get in on him, if not even more. Once again, proving that Bruce was mortal. He was human, and he was fallible.
So the question is, when was that in compared to his experience from this book? That would be interesting to hear, because if then there's two different occasions when Bruce went back as a Jeet Kune fighter to Hong Kong, and once he went back as a Wing Chun practitioner.
So that disturbed him so bad after developing all that power that he almost gave up martial arts altogether when he came back to Seattle in the United States. He was so distraught that he wanted to quit. But he thought about it, and he began to realize that there's a limitation that he couldn't just live with, and he couldn't just give it up. Then he began to raise a caliber higher and pursue the cause of his ignorance. That's where he began his first step in a 1,000-mile journey, discovering what his weaknesses were and limitations were, and trying to humanly compensate for that as best as possible. Discovering truth is not easy. Once you find out, it hurts.
Pierre, he might refer to Hong Kong in 1963 as he left Seattle to live in Oakland in 1964. Yes, but he just said he went back to Hong Kong and he saw that the other guys who were still training Wing Chun, they were still stronger than him, despite modifying Wing Chun. So, which is interesting because Jesse Glover, he learned that modified Wing Chun system from Bruce, and he overpowered all Wing Chun guys from like today, right? Okay, so we don't really know the timeline.
Then being able to override and rise above takes a little more inside here than most people are willing to put out. Just because you're good at skipping rope, punching bags and all that doesn't mean a thing. It's what's inside you. It's the essence of you. Yeah. The real you comes out then. Are you willing to do what it takes to become a champion? In Bruce's life, he was. He was determined that he was going to make it work and find out what he can do to make it better. So he began to modify and to cultivate and to read books, everything that there was on fighting, different fighting styles, different everything. What he was doing was the birth of Jeet Kune, but he didn't even know that then himself. All he was doing was discovering the cause of his own ignorance. And out of that came the knowledge of what we have today. And it continued to grow. But that wasn't enough for him. He still had the drive to want to be the best, even within his own ranks. He was his best friend and worst enemy. He was in competition with himself, not the people out there in the martial arts world, but with himself. If he wasn't satisfied with the progress he made, then he did not rest until he found out further the cause of that ignorance and continued to develop. He continued to develop. The older he got, the wiser he got, the better he got, and the more determined he was to succeed. Those are the attributes that was in him, and everybody that he taught along the way had those same attributes put into them in the first generation Jeet Kune. I was fortunate enough to be there to see a lot of that transition and to be in on a lot of that change and the birth of a new system, a new way of thinking, a new way of fighting. And then the philosophy that followed was truly not to call it anything, but an expression of who you are. Find out the cause of ignorance, then you find out who you are. When you find out who you are, then you can apply it to your art. Within the framework and the structure of Jeet Kune was laid the philosophy that we live by today in the art. Excellence breeds excellence. Success breeds success. Failures breed failures. But nothing beats a failure but a try. And no matter what you have, who you are, what system you come from, you can always learn.
So the interesting thing is that
something from Jeet Kune and apply it. You see, my job is not to take you and change who you are, but to take what you have and make it better. Help you discover what you have and its weaknesses and the ignorances that lie behind it, and strengthen them and eliminate all the weaknesses that you have and concentrate only on that which comes natural. Whether it be a straight jab, kick, punch, anything, take it and make it better for you. That is what Bruce drove himself hard to give to us today. The legacy that we have today, and it's not being taught. It is not being passed down properly. So that's again where I come in, to help you discover the cause of ignorance. Not to be like Bruce Lee, but to be like you. Be the best you can be. That's what it's all about.
So that's the interview with Howard Williams. Wait a sec. So let's get a bit music here. Why is it not running? You can hear it. Okay. So the interesting thing is from this interview now is that that Bruce went back to Hong Kong as a Wing Chun guy, and he wasn't he didn't like his progress or what compared to other guys there, which that's probably what the Wing Chun guy is talking about when he went back. So he went second time back as a Jeet Kune guy in 1968 or something. And then the third time he went back when Yip Man died. So I think he was 3 times back then. Not more. Well, the one time he went back is when his father died. That's probably the thing when he visited his old Wing Chun school the first time. So okay, well, that's how it is. And the Wing Chun guys, they use only the story when he was first time back, but not when he was the second time back, when he did all this progression into Wing Chun, into Jeet Kune, I mean. So okay, I want to show you one other thing is that Per sent me through Facebook. It's an article from Black Belt magazine. I think that picture, it's one of the picture series you can find also in the Fighting Method books. You can clearly see. You can clearly see by the picture. Oh, there you go. So it's this one. So you can see the Chisao of Wing Chun, and then Hai Chisao. Chisao is the art of sticking hand, unique method, blah blah blah. And then you see this picture with this pullover, and you can see a few pictures with the same pullover in this book here. So if let's see if I can find this quick. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the same pullover. Okay. So there you go here. It should be same pullover. He was here also. That's the same pullover when you get when you look closely. I guess these pictures were not made for the Fighting Method books, because the Fighting Method books picture, they look like this. Okay, so different clothing and clothing. So you can see the picture there. And the next page is here, Wing Chun by Bruce Lee. So on here it says the posture of Bruce Lee in the following photos is that of Wing Chun style, not of that of Jeet Kune. So they did here a separation, so to make it clear that this is not Jeet Kune they are talking about, right? So what is this? Black Belt magazine from 1969. What? 1969? Look how old this is. And even they made the separation between Jeet Kune and Wing Chun. So there's only one song, right? And then it stops for what reason ever. Come on. So, oh, there you go. So next song, please. Oh no, now it goes. Okay, so Howard seems like a fun guy at parties. Yes, Robert, Tommy, this channel is incredibly valuable for the whole world and his legacy. Yes, unfortunately, you know, only few people are going really to watch this old stuff, and you know, relative to the world population. I mean, the channel grows. We have now over 6,000 subscribers, but you know, most of these subscribers nowadays come from the shorts I do, and these guys see these shorts that only a few seconds, and then they click on subscribe, and they probably never come back to the channel. So, or just only small percentage of the people. Pierre, next trip he made in Hong Kong was 1965 when his father died, and Yip Man passed away 72. So the 65 trip, is that was Bruce talking about when he overpowered the Wing Chun guys? Because 65 he didn't do Wing Chun anymore. Okay, so only 2-3 years period between the two examples. And 72, his Yip Man passed away, and he wasn't even notified by the Wing Chun guys because they hated him because of his success and last time he was in the school. The Trend Killer, what do you think about making real shorts that are not just clipped? I did that. I did those when you watch my older shorts. I did. But it's a lot of work, you know. I do my videos and then I clip out the shorts from the videos. I could do separate shorts, but this is really a lot of work. I did that, but this is I mean, I have to record this. I have to have the idea what I'm gonna do and then record this. And I at the day when I do the stuff, I also feel good. So, you know, when I'm injured somewhere or something, I can't punch and move as fast or whatever. I may get back to that, you know. So yeah, there are plenty. You can check them. So guys, I think that should be enough for today. So Howard Williams' interview is really great. It's an eye-opener, and I mean, what can you else do that provide? Apparently there's only one guy that messed up Jeet Kune. And so you can think of who that is. You can also focus on Instagram videos. Well, Instagram is shit at the moment. I don't know what happened to the channel, but you know, the channel just suddenly died as if my channel was shadow banned. And I read a bit into it, and apparently if you use always the same hashtags and everything, the system or the algorithm thing, you are like a bot channel. So I tried to change that and it helped a bit, but you know, it's not nearly growing. It used to be for a short period of time, when like in 2 months it grew like over 100,000 subscribers. And many like prominent celebrities subscribe to my channel, including Sugar Ray Leonard, and then some musicians as well, you know, very interesting. But yeah, that when it got break down by the algorithm, it stopped. So I'm posting still there, but it's nothing. Maybe Instagram CEO is a Wing Chun guy. It is possible. Anything is possible, to tell you the truth, you know. Everything is possible. Some guy sits there and he just blocks your channel. That's it. Who knows? Or some concepts guy. Okay, guys. I think that's enough for today. So don't forget to watch our last video, and this one. Okay, so don't forget to watch this one. Punch the kick to all sides, right? So it's 6 minutes long, so I show some 360 degrees attacking, kicking, punching. And guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.